No, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was your mouth. The mic's right over there. Anyway, hello. This is Alex here with our new intergalactic lawyer, who currently represents the interests behind the Legends version of our show, which is confusing. The Star Wars New Canon Book Club, where Jesse Davis and I sort of haphazardly followed along with Disney's version of Star Wars for about half a decade, for better or for worse, and which ended unceremoniously in late 2020. Anyway, we seem to have come to some sort of agreement regarding the future of the SWOCBC archive, and it seems to be all good now, so I'll let my esteemed guest explain, and then I'll translate. He's very happy to be able to make these episodes available to you now after they've been away for so long. He says that while they were in the vault, they had their archivists organize and remaster all the episodes and place them into 4 definitive collections, which they'll be releasing again over the next few months in partnership with us. He says they're going to be permanently hosted on our Patreon page, but that they're fully 100% free for all listeners, and that it's very important to them that nobody have to pay for access to a bunch of stuff we recorded half a decade ago that everybody already listened to for free for years. But yeah, SWOCBC Collection 1 is available now only at patreon.com/SWOCBC. That's patreon.com/SWOCBC. It's almost 20 hours of remastered content. Go there, check it out, have a look around, give them a listen if it pleases you, and may the Force be with you. Please enjoy this month's Star Wars Inside the Insider Collection, number 3.
SWOCBC Episode 16, Inside the Insider, has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence, Issue 7. You are clear for takeoff. Original publication date of spring 1989. This is Control. Thanks for listening.
You fucking space little Rhodian bounty hunting little Greedo bastards. Welcome back to Inside the Insider International Edition. This is the 7th Inside the Insider. This is for what season of the year are we in right now? It's
the fall.
1989, right? Fall?
I'm pretty sure this is the fall because or it's they do a full piece on Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones was May.
I'm trying to
find the little thing.
Yeah.
It usually says somewhere, but it does not say on this issue, but that's okay.
And this will be May because they're hyping up the movie.
Yeah, this is
April.
like middle 88 or early 89, right?
Sure.
And in the way that we were silly with Willow stuff when Willow was imminent and we were annoyed by it, this time I'm not annoyed by it because I fucking love Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. But man, do they just go in on stuff. So, also Jesse's in London right now. So we're doing this.
Jolly good.
So we're doing this. We're doing this episode remote. So forgive us if it's a little bit more. It's on the, what is it called? The space internet. What's it called?
I'm going to be real with you. If we get a
Skynet.
message just like, it's the best episode you guys have ever done, it's going to be heartbreaking.
Seriously, this is the best audio you guys have ever had.
So clear.
I lament the day. Now, what is it called in Star Wars? The internet?
The HoloNet?
Oh, HoloNet.
HoloNet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Who wants to go? What do you guys got?
I got the big bad boy. So,
yeah, you got the big bad boy. We'll Davey, go first.
Okay. I got 2. I'll start with the first one was an interview with Rob McGregor, which is just a freaking cool last name. This guy is the person that he wrote the novelization, like the novelization adaptation of The Last Crusade. And so it was just a cool interview with him. He apparently, it even starts with like, author Rob McGregor isn't exactly sure why he was chosen to write the novelization of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, except perhaps as a reward for pinch hitting the adaptation of a script for the television series Private Eye. He like was a newspaper and magazine editor and a travel writer sometimes. And then he just kind of like lucked into like, he did some like script doctoring, I guess. And then he kind of just got picked to become like a writer. And then from here on, he would become like a novel writer.
Like a novelization writer?
Well,
or
so,
like his own shit?
Yeah, like he wrote this. Then he wrote, like, it wasn't out yet, but they talk about it. His upcoming book, The Crystal Skull. Not an Indiana Jones. Yes, not an Indiana Jones book, but about the Crystal Skull that it is. And then he wrote, I guess, like 6 or something young Indiana Jones adventure books after this. Like,
I read a shitload of those, so maybe I've read his work.
Yeah, I
used to love that fucking show too. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's just fascinating that he wrote. It's like one of those like fun coincidences.
That seems like such a dope job, and it's actually interesting because this shit still mattered. Like, this was like a big part of the revenue stream for a big movie coming out, was somebody buying the book, right? Like in the 80s, like probably people were buying and reading these in a way that they do not really do anymore. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because I remember buying, because I was like born this year. I was like a babby this year, but like even when I was a kid in like the 90s, like the later 90s, like I was buying like novelizations of movies, and like I'd buy like the X-Files, like the chapter book or shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of interesting because they did a profile on this person in the fan mag, so it just feels weird that a novelization would be given this attention.
Yeah, it's let's see some of the cool highlights. He was just talking about like what it's like adapting something, and some of the like, you basically get like a 250 page screenplay, but you have to like make it like a 325 page book. And so there's like, you know, that's
pretty chunky, to be honest.
Yeah. And you got to kind of like adapt. You have to like, you know, pick things and explore it and like elaborate on it. He was talking about like, you know, the difference between writing your own stuff and writing an adaptation is like the characters and story are already there. So you have to like figure out your way into them rather than creating them and it being easier to write them. But like, it's Indiana Jones. He was talking about like some of the disadvantages are like in a movie, you can kind of just jump around scene to scene, and you can't do that as easily in a book because it's like from people's perspectives. So you can get kind of lost. So figuring out how to do that is a challenge. He was talking about a fun little factoid is like, he gets to kind of like go to places and get immersed when he's writing. And so he was like in Venezuela, he's like, which is not where that takes place, but it's like got some kind of fun, similar topography to some
locale.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it like helps get it. And he was like, he was, while doing the plot, he was researching like the Holy Grail myths. And in the German Grail legend, there's like it's like a 6-step process, and each step has an animal associated with it. And he was like, by chance, in the movie, there is like, I guess, 2 lion heads around a gap in a mountain. And that is like the 5th step in the Grail. And that is that's the animal associated with that part of the Grail German thing.
And it was not on purpose?
Yeah, that was like a coincidence. So he put in the book, apparently, there are nods to all those animals and all those steps. Like that's like a thing he added. Like he like added that flavor of the German Grail myth into the book version, and kind of like, you know, fun stuff. That's like cute. That. Yeah. And then he's talking about like, you know, it's cool to work with George Lucas, and, you know, Indiana Jones is such like a fun archetypal character, and it's, you know, exciting to work on. And like, he loves this one because it's like got the most emotional meat with it being a like father-son story on top of it being an adventure story. So yeah.
Emotional meat.
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder whether you're related to John S. Davis?
I mean, no, because he's probably would have known.
He's very prolific in
What
this.
about
in this,
John
in
Rhys
this,
Davies?
That would have been cool, but no.
That would be lit. Yeah, I would be hyped to go to your family parties.
Yeah. And then he was also talking about like one of the, sometimes when you go like write a book or on spec or something, you're like, all right, I'm going to go and hope that this gets to be something. But with like something like this, you just know you're going to get paid a bunch ahead of time. So that's like it sounds like for writers, it's always like a struggle to just make sure you have like a nice income stream. And these kind of things are great for that.
I love that.
So sell out.
Damn. Oh shit.
And then the other thing
Davis to Davis.
You showed him.
Look, you know how many fucking Raid Shadow Legends integrations I've done? I'm not saying I'm not a sellout.
I honest to God
your cousin?
Thought you were about to say, do you know how many Raid Shadow Legends books I've written? I was really excited for a minute.
That seems like legit, like based on what I know about his like past reading history, like exactly the type
That's
of job
what I was like,
get.
yo, you wrote one about the orc with the big boobs? Awesome.
Oh, and there's reasons why. Okay.
You'll be so embarrassed when you find out why.
Yeah. I took inspiration from Quiet. Okay. There's a really good reason. And then my other one was the official Indiana Jones and Last Crusade merch thing, which came with a little comic, but it's a comic for Willow. And it's just like a little like thing about what's cooking in Nockmar. And it's like just basically like these two dudes are asking the cook, like, what are we eating? And he's like, possum pie, goat's milk. And for dessert, I thought I'd bake some brownies. And you're like, oh, brownies. But then it's like they show two of the brownies like tied up. And then one of them says, this is all your fault. Rule? Is that the name of the character?
I'm gonna imagine that one's. I'm gonna imagine that one's Kevin Pollak.
It's just a fun little, I guess fun little like visual pun if you are a Willow fan.
If you're listening to this on Patreon, let us know in the comment section of this episode, like how interested you are in watching, like us doing a watch along of Willow.
A Patreon-based Willow watch along?
Yeah, just let me know in the comments if you're interested in that, because I believe it's on Disney Plus. I believe.
Yeah,
I do not own Willow, surprisingly.
I want to see it, but I don't want to see it enough that I'm just going to take a night out and do it. I'd rather make it something that we can all share. And then
that's beautiful.
The merch they got ahead of the merch. Well, I guess they do pre-release on merch stuff too, but like they got the fedoras, they got leather jackets.
So funny.
And they have them, they're like the official jackets from, I guess, Cooper Sportswear is like the company that manufactured the movie ones. And they're like $300, which isn't cheap, and especially not back then. But it's like, if you had these, it would probably, and you took care of it, it probably like still is around today being a sick jacket. Like I don't know, the merch we get today, like all clothing, is just like lesser quality because it's cheaper. And it's kind of cool that like you could actually just get the indie jacket from the manufacturer.
They have a new one and like the old one.
There was like I can't remember the name of the company. There are probably several. In like the mid 2000s, it was real popular for like a company to make motorcycle jackets that were replicas of like the Dark Knight outfit or like other stuff. And that was like kind of cool if that was like the closest you could get. But imagine being like, this is the fucking one from the movie, same manufacturer, same quality.
I'm currently looking at motorcycle jackets from Wested Leather. Don't want to give them a full shout out, but it's a thing that you can do.
Dude, let's do that for ourselves. That's our first, when we show up at the first live show, the first SWOCBC live show, we're showing up in monogram indie jackets.
Oh,
three dudes dressed exactly all three of us dressed like Indiana Jones to host the most Star Wars thing podcast.
You can do.
Who did?
All three of us movie accurate Indiana Jones costumes.
Star Wars Hoth jackets. Hold on. Somebody, was it Columbia? Yeah. Years ago, Columbia did like a crossover and did like movie accurate Echo based jackets. They had like Han's blue one and Luke one.
Yep.
They were expensive.
And they sold out immediately.
I just like, I wish that I like had one. And also I wish, I guess I didn't live in Southern California where I can't really ever wear these, but like they are sick. They like look legit.
I wish we had the outfits from our portraits. Like they're like pretty Star Warsy. They're unique to us. Jesse's looks really comfy.
If you're like a person that can do that kind of stuff, reach out to us. Maybe we'll figure something out.
Yeah, maybe not.
And then, other than that, like shirts, posters, that kind of stuff. So
it's lit. It's crazy how expensive the merch is even then. Like $300 in 1988 money is like a fair amount of money. It's like a PS5 Pro probably. I'm going to do mine real quick because they're by the same guy and it's really related. Indiana Jones and the Junior novelization is another article that's in here that's about the guy who wrote the Junior novelization. There's like a vibe here, though. It's very funny.
Is this not the young Indiana Jones?
No, I'm talking about like there's the one for adults that's about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and then there's the one for kids that's about the Last Crusade. And Lester Schulman is the guy, and he wrote all of them. And there's like, it feels like there's like a pride thing going on with the writing of this. I might be like reading into it too much, but this dude wrote Hardy Boys books. He wrote the storybook of Blade Runner. Why does that exist in the 80s? I don't know. It seems like something I really want to own. He also wrote the other Indiana Jones ones. And so
what is a storybook?
I don't know. Blade Runner storybook sounds tight to me.
Is storybook like the thing you're talking about? Where it's got like picture. It's like a kid's.
No, these are. So, okay. The quote says, as a writer, he has worked primarily on the type of books. This is like why I'm talking about this pride thing. He's worked primarily on the type of books that the publishing industry refers to as juvenile novels, from Hardy Boys Adventures to storybook versions of Blade Runner and The Bride. But then the funny part is that after that, it's like a quote from him, and he's saying that he's like basically saying like, actually, I like writing kids' books better. But it's kind of interesting. So he says, because I'm going to read this quote from him. He says, I like juvenile adaptations better. I have no idea whether he meant that he wrote like a Golden Books version of Blade Runner or like a novel, but storybook to me seems like really short, but whatever. Anyway, he says, I like juvenile adaptations better because I like speed and narration, shifting points of view, very sharp cuts, and quick action. Adventure writers have a lot to learn from movie writers, and the movies have influenced writing a great deal. I also think that television commercials and their condensation of action in a short space of time makes an audience much more receptive to fast cuts and fast chapters than previous eras. The juvenile version is shorter. The language, I suppose, is simpler, though I don't strive for super simple language. I just keep the sentences short and the action moving without making it seem stupid or talking down to anybody. So that's like the most badass like a kid's book writer has ever sounded. But I just think it's funny that he's like, I wanted the action to be a big deal. That's the cool thing about this. I think about it from a kid's perspective where like the love story, I just kind of like removed it mostly. Like I like very much downplayed it because kids don't really care about a love story as much. So I decided to focus on the action. I like went into Turkey and I tried to go to Turkey to do some stuff and like research, but the Turkish government like didn't let me or like some of the things in the movie actually what it is that they went to Turkey. He was in Turkey. They got stuff wrong in the movie, and then it made the Turkish government mad. So because he went to Turkey, he was able to like they shifted the action in the book to like a different part of Turkey
to make it more accurate.
Yeah. And it was like not part of Turkey at the time of the book. I mean, at the time of the movie, so that like technically it didn't offend the Turkish government anymore, which is like kind of interesting.
He played like ambassador. He like saved international relations with his kids' book. I believe that's it. Or he's just either that or he's literally just telling an anecdote that he knows about the movie's production that he had nothing to do with. But he makes it seem like he went to Turkey and learned a bunch of stuff and the team shifted the script to a place that made sense. But I don't know. Either that or he's just like spicing up his own interview with a completely unrelated story about Indiana Jones's production. I guess we'll never know.
Yeah. But speaking about John S. Davis, our writer, he also wrote Inside ILM, which we've done a couple times on the show. This one is with Mike McAllister, who was the Viz Effects supervisor on Last Crusade. Similarly to our writer, he got into it by accident. He was in film school to be a DP, and then he just kind of like slowly through connections ended up working on like a lot of like sci-fi and like things that have more visual effects, and then he just kind of like accidentally specialized in it. And then he ended up on like E.T., Dragon Slayer, Return of the Jedi, Starman, Willow, Temple of Doom. He won an Oscar for Temple of Doom. So they talked to him about this stuff, and obviously the movie's not out, so he can't say that much. But like, if I worked for the PR company that was trying to promote this movie and I read this interview, I would be furious at this man, because he is like spoiling. Without spoiling, like if this article came out today and went to Reddit, they would like figure out the plot of the movie from it. But he's basically talking about like there's a bunch of cool effects in this movie, and then he like describes like every sequence. He's like, there's an airplane thing that's like really cool that we think is going to be pretty cool, and then like that one's going to be great, and it's like the closest thing we have to the minecart sequence that we did in Temple of Doom, and so everybody's going to love the air sequence with them in the air. And then actually there's this part where at the end of the movie, he has to like go out on a chasm and like walk across a thing, and it looks like there's a bridge, but it's invisible, but it's not there, but it is there.
Spoiling.
Yeah, straight up. And then he's like, and they even, he says exactly how they do the effect. And he's talking about like, oh, you know, luckily you can like shoot it out of sequence so that you can like make it so that it looks just like this, how it does in the movie. And then they're like, hey, we have this dogfight with two biplanes, and he's talking with Spielberg, and then he basically like says, oh, and we have this like Zeppelin thing. Oh, and we have this thing where Indy crash lands the airplane, and he gets chased by a Messerschmitt pilot in the air to ground. Indy steals a car and goes down the road. The Messerschmitt chases him down a canyon. Indy ducks into a tunnel. He literally says all this, and
He's
then
like
he says
beat by beat, just talking about the sequence.
He's like, it tries to go in the tunnel, and the wings get sheared off. There's literally a picture of the plane with its wings off. Like, it's crazy. Like this would never happen today. Like, this movie is not out, and they are like saying what happens in the movie. It's crazy.
Yes, like I guess back then, pre-internet, if you had to like get this magazine to read it, you had to like really opt in. But with how everybody just like posts shit in like websites, just take rumors or half truths and make stuff. Yeah, like they'd have this whole thing like beat it out already based off of just this one interview.
It's crazy. Like literally, the interviewer asks, "Are there any other sequences you'd like to tell us about
in great detail?"
And that's when he tells the beat for beat.
Oh my god.
There's a nice little short sequence of the Messerschmitt overtaking the car and then going out the other end of the tunnel and exploding. Like, he tells the entire sequence from beginning to end. Anyway, it's great. They did it all physically, obviously. This is a Spielberg movie. They did it all on sets in London.
Their trailers, though, in the old days, also used to kind of just like tell the whole movie. Anyway, yeah, so right. I don't know, like maybe that's just like how it was done, but it is.
Maybe spoilers just didn't matter and never have mattered that much, but people just like blow them up.
I guess, and you couldn't like rewatch the trailer a million times or redo the stuff, so it's like still kind of a surprise. To anybody. Yeah, you just like could read it and talk to your friends about it. You couldn't really like go post and collaborate with all the fans and decide what the plot of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is together, and like ruin the actual bottom line of the movie by like getting mad about something that you've interpreted from like set photos as happening in the movie, even though like nobody's read the script or seen it or anything like that. And the movie's actually loses like $50 million because of some scandal. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy out there.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah. What do you got, Jesse? Tell us about the big man.
So the big piece from this issue was a massive Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, mega ultra fluff piece. It was hilarious. The best part about
I love that the two splash pages are both his face, which is really funny to me.
The best part about the whole thing of this indie interview is that this is notorious Hollywood grump Harrison Ford, and every single line they quote from him is the happiest I've ever heard this man. Everything he says is so proud and happy and excited. He feels like a kid on set. And I was the entire time thinking, what happened? When did the switch flip? When was he always this way when he was younger? How did this, what happened to this man? I don't know, but it's very funny to read. The first full page is dedicated to describing a scene being shot on set and how Harrison seems really happy with this shot and explains the movie a bit, what Indiana Jones is, introducing some of the locales like Spain and Italy, then talking about Sean Connery being in it. And then finally, they start describing the room they interview him in, the outfit he's wearing, a brown suit and tie with small round wired framed glasses, his normal Indiana Jones teaching outfit. And then they ask him questions finally. And Harrison goes on to describe Indy, and I love this quote. He said, he's got fears and money problems, and while a teacher, he isn't intellectual, and while brave, he's not a hero. And I was like, that's a pretty good descriptor.
Money problems.
It doesn't really show up in the movie, but I guess that's why he's a like for fortune guy. I don't know.
I think of him as poor in the most recent movie.
I mean, right? I guess they finally show it.
Dial of Destiny. Yeah, he's like penniless in his house, but like I guess that's how he always has been.
Yeah, I mean, even his father's house. When you see his father's house when they're a kid, it's like kind of a little box.
It's definitely messy, but it's not like it's like a colonial. It's like a nice house, right?
Yeah,
it's not like a weird.
But he then says the line. I wouldn't exactly say he's a ladies' man. I think ladies' man takes a little bit of forethought in his pursuit of women. Indiana Jones seems to find women along the way, but doesn't seem to go out of his way to track them down or encourage them.
That's a very accurate statement.
Yeah, they just show up and he's like, "Yeah, all right, I'll sleep with you." And then,
it's definitely like, because I feel like we talk about different male gazy fantasies on this podcast a lot. That's like the archetype where it's like he almost is like bothered by them,
right?
And he just wants to solve the crime or like find the what do you call it, artifact, and it's like, oh well, all right, I guess there's a woman here and there's kissing and whatever.
Willie Scott was my favorite babe.
Marion, dude, what are you doing? Get out of here. False.
I just love their Marion is like cooler than Indy though. Like Marion is like almost more badass than Indy. Like Willie Scott is like the perfect James Bond babe character.
I don't know. There was something about that blonde girl from the third one. Her views on things really, I liked it.
I like burnt.
She had a lot of good ideas.
I like how she always goes for the gold.
Right.
I love a woman in uniform.
Yeah, certain uniforms.
He says that they always planned on doing 3 movies, and he liked that they finally were able to delve into the backstory since really hadn't been done much before, especially the different facets of his character, more than just being like a guy who broke Marion's heart and worked with her dad, for example. And he had a family, he had a childhood, all that stuff. The best part is as we get kind of in the middle of it, Harrison says he'll miss making these movies. It made him feel like a kid again, but 3 films is enough.
I think he still feels that way. I think he feels that way. That's probably why he was feeling good. He thought he was done. He didn't know about like how Deadpool and Wolverine would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he didn't understand that there was going to be another Blade Runner.
He talks about Sean Connery, and again, this piece is just like, it is very rare for 2 actors working on a film to not have creative differences and to like each other. It is super cool. I was like, they're really, everything we've read about this, they are hyping up the fact that like these 2 guys are buds, and that's cool. Like, all right,
dude, this is like only a few years before The Rock.
Sure, yeah.
I could see them getting along, and I based on what I think I know about Harrison Ford, like, I don't think he would be as giddy on set of Star Wars because it's like, what's all this horse nonsense? Yeah. But he's like, all of his interests seem to align with like what Indy does. So it's like, I get to just like do action stuff. I get to go travel the world and have a good time. I understand the characters, the stakes of this. Mm-hmm. It's just like hanging out, and like probably like Spielberg's tight to chill with too. So I get why he'd be giddy. And then I don't know, Sean Connery seems like that kind of guy too. So I could totally get them just like palling around the world, sharing good stories, probably like drinking and having a fun time.
They also are only 12 years apart.
Right.
Ooh. Not like father and son age.
Wait. They make Sean Connery just look older with the beard and stuff. but like,
Oh,
they're very close in age. Yeah.
Yeah.
wow. He was
only
a
12 years apart.
virile youth, I guess.
Also, the last sentence in this is so fucking funny coming from Harrison Ford. Like the very last thing in this
Oh,
interview is
don't
him
worry.
saying,
I have it written down.
it's so funny.
What's crazy
it's like the
is they-
opposite of Conan O'Brien, Harrison Ford.
They dip back into Harrison's bio. I guess for people who don't know, they're like, he was born in Chicago, started acting young, but then he moved to California and he couldn't really get into acting stuff, so he became a carpenter. Then his first big role was a supporting character in American Graffiti in 1970, which I think is how he probably was discovered in order to be put into Star Wars.
He was literally like doing spackle work on The Office where they were doing the auditions or something, and they were like, "Hey, Harrison from that movie, you want to come read some sides?" And he like got cast.
Yeah. And then they go on to say that they list all these movies he's been in, and they're like, yeah, so Harrison Ford at this point in time was in 5 of the top 10 most successful movies of all time. And this movie hadn't even come out yet. So I don't know, maybe 6 by the end of this. I have no clue, but he was killing it. It then veers back into
like
Harrison.
Even the new Star Wars probably did gangbusters, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's saying that the 3 Star Wars movies plus the 2 previous Indiana Jones movies were 5 of the top 10, which is crazy to think
Holy
about.
hell.
Yeah. Then it goes in.
He's like the main guy in them too. It's crazy.
Yeah. It talks about Harrison, and he talks about stunts, and he's like, I do not do stunts. I don't like stunts. I don't want to do them. He talks about how he did learn to use the bullwhip. And that became a thing where every time he'd have to break out the hat again, he'd be like, all right, you go in the backyard and just try to relearn the bullwhip, which I think is a really funny visual. Just imagining Harrison Ford on his ranch, just whipping nothing, trying to like make it sound cool.
My head just made a hilarious montage, and he has a joint, and he's frustrated, and he's getting better at it.
That's accurate.
Yeah. And the thing is, he says in this that, and I'm sure that's where he was with those joints, he says that he hates Hollywood, doesn't like the hustle and bustle. He doesn't like to be there. That's why he's in Wyoming with at that time, his current wife, Melissa Matheson, who wrote E.T., which I did not know.
What?
Yeah. And he says, I prefer the country to the city. The thing about cities is that there's a kind of noise pollution that's hard to resist. There's a tension of everybody rushing around all day long. The noise of that activity tends to store itself inside you, and you're really aware of it. When you get away from that to the quiet and peace of the country, you find that you adopt different tempos, and your life is lived in a different rhythm. And it's one that I find much more pleasurable. And they ask, what do you find pleasurable? And he's like, I go grocery shopping, I do the laundry, I mend fences, I fish, I work wood. I was like, whoa,
Dude,
this is like a cool Harrison Ford.
Ron Swanson. Like, it's just, it's like true. I don't know. Yeah.
And then
I know he like makes little birdhouses and stuff, like still to this day.
yeah, and then to get back to Alex's the end, it somehow goes against everything we know about Harrison Ford. The man
Hilarious.
says, I'm happy. I don't really have any complaints. There was a time this man found peace and we ruined it for him.
He was like, "What do you want me to do?" Oh shit!
You want me to
But it's like
get
Steven
stabbed by
Spielberg.
my son on a bridge? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
you got it. You got it. He was like, "I'll die. I'll die though."
Finally, you'll get rid of me. Perfect.
But they still got him to be in the last one.
Yep.
I won't come back, right? No
They
flashbacks.
still got him. They still got him.
I mean, greasing somebody a couple mil it opens a lot of doors.
It does. I mean, you can't say no to the money, but like, do you feel good about it? Probably not. Artistically, probably not.
I
don't
don't
know.
know that he thinks
From
about
the guy
Han
who was
Solo
given
in
it-
that way.
Dude, all he ever talks about with Han Solo is how he wished he died earlier. You
I
what
know,
mean?
but I'm
All
saying
he's-
like he doesn't. I don't know that he like. That doesn't tell me that he like thinks that character is sacred or anything. It feels like it's one of those things where it's so popular that it like he like dislikes it.
I think for him, it's more about him dressing up and doing it. I don't think it's about like the sanctity of Harris of Indy or Han. I think it's like just that he has to like go be Han Solo again.
I think he doesn't like Like, he likes acting. He doesn't like Hollywood. Sit around, wait for stuff to happen.
He's a hippie.
Yeah, do your shot. That like what really movie making is. A lot of waiting and like BS.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that he would. Because what you would think during that time period, he'd be like, I could go whittle some wood. Or
everybody likes him who works with him. You know what I mean? Like, as grumpy as his persona is, like, on a personal basis, he seems like he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
So I just imagine he just doesn't.
From this interview, he seemed like it. Everything he said, I was like, I think that's pretty fair, Harrison.
Yeah. I want to be his friend.
I imagine Ranch Harrison Ford is a infinitely cooler dude than interview red carpet Harrison Ford.
Look, I talked to him on the phone for like 25 seconds one time. Does that count?
It does. No. I mean, was he like, oh, hey, you?
It was like the most. It couldn't. I was just an employee of a place that was calling him, but it was
hold
scary.
on, let me get
like,
Callista.
Yeah, it was. Hold on. It was intimidating. It's scary to have Indiana Jones answer the phone and you have to pretend like you don't know that it's him.
Yeah. But what if he's like, Alex Compadre? I love Chilluminati.
Alex Compadre. I'll be like, what?
It's my favorite one.
How did you know it was me calling? Caller ID, son.
I have caller ID, boy. Come over and build a birdhouse with me.
Dude,
I think I'm a replicant.
I would love
I'm a replicant that can give birth. I can have kids, but I'm a replicant. How is that possible? How did I do that?
That's a whole other podcast.
Is Harrison Ford a replicant? Good question.
Yeah. Denis Villeneuve podcast. You guys want to do one? The Denock box.
I was trying to think like the Denis Villeneuve canon, but I don't know, whatever.
Top 10 changes to the Dune cinematic universe that rocked our world.
Number 7 will be one.
Dune sins. 30 Dune sins you never noticed. Okay. We will be back again. Thank you guys so much for listening to this drivel. Just kidding. This is like the end of like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, which is weird, right? So next time that this magazine comes out, I think we're at an inflection point right now, because at this point, I feel like the movie's going to come out between this issue and the next one. So then what?
So the next one will be fall, and then nothing happens.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do we have in store for this show, Inside the Insider, now? I think is where we're going to see the birth.
Probably a bunch of letters that are like, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade changed my life. Thank you, George Lucas and the Insider, for filling me in on all these amazing things that we saw in the film, like the plane chase and the boat chase. I think it's going to be that.
You know what? You're probably like very accurate for the first one, but I think that like 5 to 6 issues from now, we're going to start seeing like stuff like an Indiana Jones short story or some shit like that. Like, I think we're going to start seeing some wild stuff.
We just got a Willow Willow comic, so who knows?
Sure. There's that fun Darth Vader comic. Oh, also, I just want to point out, just because it's like fucking weird, that in this issue there is an ad that is selling the actual hand of C-3PO.
Oh, yeah. Bidding starts at like, what is it, $3,500? And
$3,500 from Friends of the Joffrey Ballet.
Is that to raise money for the ballet then?
I guess so. You send your bid to C-3PO Glove, care of Friends of the Joffrey Ballet in San Francisco.
Like, it's probably something Anthony Daniels supports, right?
Do you realize how scammy that sounds?
He has an autographed. There's an autographed picture of Anthony Daniels. It looks like it's real. I think it's real. It's donated by George Lucas.
Oh, I'm sure it's real. I'm just like, the things that you have to like send care to, like by today's standards, I'd be like, hell no, this is like a scam. I'm never going to see any of that.
That's just how they just didn't have internet yet. That's just how everything.
You just had to trust your fellow man.
It's just the mailman. Really.
I never got my Star Wars Episode 1 poster in 1999. I spent $25 on it. They stole my money.
From who?
eBay. Some dude on eBay.
Oh. Damn. Maybe
I learned that lesson young. I was like, well, crap.
Maybe that's our indie movie. Is tracking down that poster. Maybe we'll go on a road trip to go get that episode 1
We
poster
can
from
probably
some
buy
stranger.
it like at Spencer's Gifts now.
Yeah, that's true. We can probably just print it on demand from Amazon.com.
Dude, tracking down a Spencer's gift shop now will be like a whole saga.
That's the movie.
I also wanted to point out another thing that I saw in the Club Classifieds that I thought was incredible and like the beginning of something great, which is this very first entry on the For Sale, which says Star Wars novel-length fanzines, Jedi Dawning ready, only a Wookiee soon.
What?
I need
Somebody
to see
selling.
those.
Yeah.
They
Jedi
also-
Dawning and only a Wookiee. If you have one of those, please let us know. Contact us on Patreon.
Also,
please.
they sound like erotica. I'm not going to lie. Jedi Dawning
Wookiee.
and only a Wookiee? That's...
Only a Wookiee, I just... Novel length. I don't know. Anyway, I would love to have
It'd be
those.
amazing if we found out one of those was Timothy Zahn.
Catherine Smith is who it says. I don't know who that is, but it says Catherine Smith. Anyway, Star Wars rules. Thank you guys for listening to this. We'll be back with number 8 next time on Inside the Insider. Next time we do, I believe it'll be with the Return of the Jedi novelization. So get hype. We'll see you there.
Dip.
Kisses.
That was kisses.
Great.
All right, SWOCBC, you're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Faciane. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening. SWOCBC Episode 17, Inside the Insider, has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence. Issue 8, you are clear for takeoff. Original publication date of summer, 1989. This is Control. Thanks for listening.
Hey, you space truckers. You fucking little... Yeah, you, Is that Vader? Is that Vader saying no and killing the Emperor?
Isn't that part of the plot of Spaceballs? Is they go to a space truck stop and a guy gets killed by the alien? I'm pretty sure they go to a space truck stop.
And he goes, "Hello, my honey.
Yes,
Hello, my
yeah.
baby.
Goes, yeah.
Hello, my ragtime gal." So funny.
Water my ass. Get this man some Pepto-Bismol. Great line.
Welcome to Inside the Insider number 8, I believe. This is issue 8 of the Insider.
It could be.
Which is from, I'll tell you right now, summer of 1989. And guess what just happened, guys? The Willow of its time, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, is now in cinemas.
Like a movie as good as the hype they were trying to build for it came out.
Yes. And as always, to start us off, I have for you the letters section, which is now called the Fan Forum, which is scary. In the 80s already, it's called the Fan Forum, which maybe this is why they're all called forums. What if that's true?
I mean, a forum was called a forum because of the forum.
From like the Greeks. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But no, I do have some letters I want to read. I'm just joking. Okay. Here we go. First one is number 1. This is from Lily from Phoenix. Indiana Jones lives. I have seen Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade 5 times since its premiere in May, and I'm looking forward to seeing it many more times. The big 3, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and Harrison Ford, have come up with another spectacular episode
with you on this,
in this
Lily.
newest adventure of the famous archaeologist.
I've seen-
How is this a person who wrote? How is this not a copywriter?
Oh, this 100% is, but also I'm with Lily because it might be the Indiana Jones movie I've seen the most. I love Last Crusade.
You really do, and I like. There's something about it that like. I knew that about you like the day that I met
Love
you.
it.
You know what I mean?
They're all good, but it's so good that you don't need to play. It's like Uncharted 2. Like you don't ever have to play Uncharted 1 again.
Right.
It's like,
I think the best Indiana Jones movie is Raiders of the Lost Ark, but my favorite is Temple of Doom. But
Well,
the
it's-
coolest
you know who's-
is Last Crusade.
Last Crusade is just
somehow.
infinitely rewatchable.
Yeah.
It's the same vibe for me as like the movie The Rock. I'm not
Yeah.
saying The Rock is a phenomenal movie, but I must have seen that movie way too many times.
I also like The Hunt for Red October.
Great.
I also
Yeah.
love Highlander.
Yep.
I think I'm noticing a trend here.
Yeah, like just
A very specific trend.
that's goddamn right. I also like
Zordon?
the Bond movies.
Oh, I love the first couple Bond movies.
Those are great films.
I love those. Okay.
You might be right. Really, I think I just love
You fucking
Sean
love
Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm from Egypt. My quickening is powerful. All
I
right.
bought him as a Spaniard.
Yeah, he was both a Spaniard and an Egyptian, which was
You know,
fucked up.
as you are.
And a Japanese guy.
And he had an accent.
What
He
can I
was
say?
Scottish.
He's got range.
He's a Highlander. All right.
I'm a Russian admiral.
No, but we went through the lens of language. Don't you remember?
Oh.
So that's
Actually.
all Professor X, bro. All right, so here we go. This one is from Mark Younce from Pasco, Washington. I have just seen, only for the second time, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It has to be the most amazing film that has come out in a long time.
Damn.
I was constantly amazed from the beginning to the end. It had an incredible blend of action and humor and everything else. I've seen less humor in most comedies, and the terrific action shocked me throughout the entire film, and the fascinating story left me with a sense of awe. And I can't forget the excellent cast. I've always felt that Harrison Ford was the perfect Indiana Jones, and I think that there couldn't have been anyone more perfect than Sean Connery to play his dad. Even River Phoenix was good. Roasted. I also have to mention the other fantastic performers in this film. Denholm Elliott getting a named shout out. John Rhys Davies, Allison Doody, who actually does rip in this movie, and Julian Glover, who is also in Star Wars.
Yep.
Also, at the moment I'm writing this letter, I'm listening to the beautiful soundtrack from this extraordinary movie. I've waited a long time for this third Indiana Jones film to arrive, which has only in its first week shattered many records. And you know what's crazy? He's been waiting just as long as everybody else too, which is really crazy. I will continue to wait for more Lucasfilm projects as well as more Star Wars movies. I only have one more thing to say. Long live George Lucas. Indiana Jones, Luke Skywalker, and the Lucasfilm fan club.
I must stress, the more you read that, the more I'm like, this has to be cop. This can't be.
I know.
There's no way you would have a fan forum and this is how people would write to it.
I didn't
With
think,
no questions,
I didn't
no
think
nothing.
that Inside the Insider was going to be like there's a conspiracy that they write all their own letters.
But this,
Yeah.
it's starting to seem like
There's
it.
a couple in here that are crazy. I don't know if it's real, but I'm going to read two more for you guys.
Sure.
I was going to do an ILM thing about Slimer and how they do Slimer from Ghostbusters 2. But honestly, these letters were so good, and the letter section is like almost double as long as normal. So I just wanted to give you a sense of this because Willow was not actually that well received of a movie, but this was, and I just think
the difference you can tell
Yeah.
based on the entire like amount of time given to Indiana Jones versus Willow in the past.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're celebrating their wins.
This
Yes,
one's from
they are.
Janice from Laguna Hills. Still suffering from euphoria, I want to say how much I enjoyed Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and how much I appreciated the lightness of the story as compared to the Temple of Doom. One specific comment I would like to make, at the risk of sounding like a religious fanatic, I particularly appreciated Dr. Henry Jones giving his son a resounding slap for using the name of Christ in vain. Perhaps I am too old-fashioned or too sensitive, but I find that particular habit of our liberated 80s lifestyle very distressing. It is blasphemy, at least to some of us, and I, for one, thank you, Mr. Lucas, for having one of your screen characters do what I have wanted to do many times to those actors on the screen.
Oh my God.
I actually believe this is a real person.
Yeah.
Of
That's
all
the realest
people,
of them.
yeah.
On a lighter note, Indiana made Life Scout. Did he attain the Eagle rank in the BSA? Thank you again for another fantastic film.
Hilarious. So they want to know if he was an Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
That's like very important. Here's the thing that reads as real because the first two, there was no question.
Yeah.
There was no real opinion. It was just George Lucas, you're the best.
That was a fucking human. If they
Yes.
wrote that, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I feel like in the past you've said you can tell when somebody writes a thing that they know is going to get put in there, and it's like that.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly like that.
Weirdly, like her tangent is so specific that you're like, that's
There's no
very
way.
human.
Yeah, there's no way that could be.
The best part about these is you have to imagine this wasn't like emailed off.
Yeah, somebody
They
hand-wrote
wrote
this.
and then sent it in. So you had to, like, some of these, it makes no sense that you would write something and it was 3 or 4 lines. Like, I would have written, "Dear George, here's my
I've
thoughts."
always wanted to smack a godless actor, and Sean Connery finally has. All right. Next letter is from, this one's a nice one. This one's from Charles from Rittman, Ohio. It was a little past 10 in the morning on a bright, hot Wednesday, May 24th, 1989. Looking up, almost over my head, the giant marquee read, "Have the adventure of your life, keeping up with the Joneses." Although the box office wouldn't open for another 2 hours, a massive snaking line of people formed behind me. The snaking is in quotes because Indiana Jones hates snakes, by the way. It was funny. A half dozen young men were dressed up as Indiana, complete with plastic bullwhips and toy guns. I laughed to myself.
Well, they could have had the real stuff if they order them from the catalog.
from the merch.
Yeah. I remember looking down at my watch to confirm the time. Oh, great, I said to myself, looking up towards the front of the long line. This picture doesn't start for 2 hours. As I stood there cursing under my breath about having to stand around sweltering in the blazing sun, I suddenly felt myself drift back in time. 13 years to be exact. The exact year was 1977. The date was September 24th, my birthday. And I again found myself standing in a much larger crowd of people.
What is this?
I had just turned 10 years old, and I, along with my father, was waiting in line to see a little movie known as Star Wars. The sun blazing down upon everyone would not spoil the moment. You could almost feel the excitement in the air. The powerful Star Wars theme was echoing in the background as the massive crowd of people cheered on scores of Darth Vaders, Stormtroopers, C-3POs, R2-D2s, and Luke Skywalkers while they proceeded to march past us. Returning my thoughts back to the Last Crusade, faintly, coming from the end of the long line, I could hear the Raiders theme being hummed. Pretty soon the whole crowd caught on, and there we all were humming for the next hour and a half. I, of course, loved Indy 3. Although it wasn't Raiders of the Lost Ark, it was well worth the money and time I had spent waiting to see this film. Before I go, I would like to take the time to let George, Steven, Harrison, Frank, ILM, and everyone else who worked on the film to know just what they are able to do. You group of people have the ability to make an old person feel young and a young person feel heroic. Please, ... Don't give it up.
This is, again,
So does it also mean that they make an old person feel heroic? Because if they both feel young,
No, only
and
young.
Okay.
It's
No,
like a
only- I'm
transitive.
so sorry.
Yeah.
But this is exactly what you would write if you had to write a letter. Like, you would pour your heart out and be like, "That's what I have to say."
Yeah.
You guys, before the internet, there just wasn't that much to do, so
Yeah.
you just went harder.
Yeah, I also have this one last thing that I thought was kind of neat. I don't know. This is like kind of weird. This is like a heavy topic, so brace yourself. But like also I think it's kind of sweet, so here we go. This is for Tommy from Mike.
For like, this is a letter to someone.
Oh, on behalf of Tommy.
Gotcha.
From Mike from Loudon, New Hampshire.
Is he dead?
No. Well, I don't know. Friends of the Force. At the moment, Tommy is just going over his many letters and gifts from so many wonderful friends of the Force. So I'll take a moment to thank you for printing my last letter about Tommy, who suffers from nigh-man pick type C and is terminal. You can't imagine what a help it is keeping him busy with his Star Wars love. He receives letters most every day. At first, I was able to answer each one as they came in, but as of late and with a few visits to Dartmouth Hospital, I'm sorry to say I'm running behind. Tommy is no longer able to write, but he reads all his mail over and over. Perhaps you could let your fans know how much he really does and that we are trying desperately to answer them all. Your interview in number 6 with the man himself, George Lucas, was in Tommy's now famous words, awesome. You really did a super job of it. We all enjoy the magazines and all the articles. The gang at ILM gave Tommy a patch of their logo. I've read other letters asking you to make it available to the fans. Why not? It really is a treasure and one of Tommy's favorites. Keep up the great work. The Force is both real and powerful, as we here know. For Tommy, Mike. Really cool.
Damn.
Really cool. Shout outs to Tommy's family and Mike and everybody. I hope that you guys are doing okay out there. If anybody related to that situation is still with us and listening to Inside the Insider episode 8. But man, even in 89, we're now what? Just 6 years after Return of the Jedi, right? So like Return of the Jedi isn't even as old as like Christopher Nolan's Batman at this point. Like Dark Knight Rises is like 11 years old. So this is like almost half that. So it's not old. It's like as old as Endgame.
Right.
So it's still hot. And even then, in this early time, like Star Wars is like helping sick kids. It's like you got the fans that are like mad
James
about
Gunn. It's all his masterpiece.
It's just, I don't know. It's just good. It's just good stuff. And if James Caan did one thing, it was change the world.
Mm-hmm. It was Elf.
Yeah. James Caan is George Lucas, and George Lucas forever.
Actually, speaking of people that are other people, that
people more powerful and more successful, arguably, than George Lucas.
Something that I didn't realize is that Steven Spielberg is George Lucas and Harrison Ford mashed together
in the body of a tiny little nerd.
He is those two people put together. It's weird. Just like look at you're just like
you
look
just
at
mean
him
visually.
At this era, he has the same style as George Lucas and a beard, but he has a face much more like Harrison
So he
Ford.
does mean visually.
Yes, visually,
yeah.
Like smashed together.
It just looks like
a face mash.
Like both of them. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I get it.
That one especially, where I was like,
dude, that fucking
holy
Indiana
shit.
Jones and the Last Crusade logo just front and center on like a fucking baseball cap is so lit. I would wear that to
That's
brunch.
like your Rogue One sweatshirt of hats.
I can't believe that it was a real garment and that I still have like a snug fitting jumper of Rogue One. That's so lit. Thing's like 10 years old.
Rogue One's 10 years old?
Yeah.
I don't like this game where things are a lot longer ago than
this whole time thing is for the birds. Don't like it.
I don't like it. Can we just be 25 the whole time? Is that cool?
Yeah. But yeah, I'll do mine. I'm up next, right? It's Steven Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interview article. It was a lot of
because he directed Last Crusade just recently. Yeah.
A lot of interesting things. One, his least favorite is Temple of Doom. I just thought it was fun, like, because you love it, and they were like, "How was it with this?" And he kind of was like, with movies, he like usually like finds a way in or like knows what he's doing, and with Raiders of the Lost Ark, it was really interesting because he's like, I didn't know who it was for besides like
me and George.
He's like made a thing that he loved, and it was like that. And then the second one, George wanted it to be as dark as The Empire Strikes Back. And so he's like, okay, so we made that. But he was like, the first one was like as much or more fun to shoot than it was as a movie. And he was like, the second one was not fun because we had like child slavery and stuff. And he was like, it kind of made it a weird energy on set. And he was like, there's no real story. It was just kind of like a sequence of events. So for that reason, he didn't like love it that much. But he was like, with The Last Crusade, it's great because like we're back to it being a lot more Saturday matinee fun. And he's like, the father and son story was like the new thing that I like needed, because otherwise, I guess in earlier versions, it was sort of just another like sequence of events. And
neither of the other ones really have a story, really.
Yeah, they are like, I don't think Indiana Jones changes in the same, like he's
the
like
second
he's
one
like the
kind
of in the books that we read, where it's like he's just like going through something and like learning about certain things. But
the second one is kind of the origin of it belongs in a museum. Like it kind of is that he goes from being like fortune and glory kid to like respecting the power of ancient artifacts. But it's not like the plot of the movie. It's just like his character growth. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this one, like with the father stuff, it made it a lot more interesting and a lot more fun for him. He talks about just like, well, one, Sean Connery, when they were like, how'd you end up deciding Sean Connery would be his father? And he's like, that was the only person I ever thought about. He's like, my casting directors and stuff gave me a bunch of names. And he's like, I put on a piece of paper Sean Connery and I gave it to them. He's like, I didn't even think we'd be able to afford them. And he talks about, he's like, with how this gets split up, he's like, me, George, and Harrison all make equal amounts of money off these movies. And so he's like, I didn't think we'd be able to figure out how to slice a pie, because he's like, Sean at that time was making a lot of money. I've never seen somebody talk so openly about how much money they were making on these things. And he's like, but I guess they made it work. And I was like so happy that they got me my first and only choice. And they were talking about like, they have legendary chemistry. They like were tight.
Somehow it
on
like works.
Off.
Yeah.
They like completely make sense as like the kind of people that I don't think that like Harrison, they seem like they don't have egos in the way that like some movie stars do. Like they might be difficult or they might be whatever.
Harrison Ford definitely doesn't, but I can't say the same for Mr.
guess, like,
Sean Connery.
They seem like people that they're just like they just say how they feel in a way
That is accurate.
With that said, also, you don't like Sean Connery. Literally, like after I can't remember what movie, but it was like was like, I'm out. I'm not doing Hollywood anymore.
It was
I don't want to be involved.
yeah, like in like
Which is a very Harrison Ford vibe. I think they both have like high charisma but low social battery.
yeah. Just give your wife
Dude, it's like what
slap
it's
on the
like
mouth.
what made him famous because he like was trying to do the studio shit and Harrison was like, I don't give a fuck. Whatever they told me to do, I just didn't do. And he like ended up through being a carpenter, like backdooring into it.
He got to be one of the most It Man stars ever.
Yeah.
Probably the most famous guy ever.
Steven Spielberg is the biggest Harrison Ford fan in the world. He gushes over. He's like, he is only going to continue to age. He's like talking about how he's like Humphrey Bogart, but like hotter. He's just going to get better and better as time goes on.
He's like the last like hard guy.
yeah.
Like who else was like Arnold is hard in another way, but Arnold doesn't have like lived hardness like Harrison Ford has. Like who is like that today? I can't think of one like younger like 30s guy who's like world.
You know what's this is gonna sound crazy, but it's how I feel about this, so I'm just gonna say it. Harrison Ford is who Kevin Costner wishes he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's like Kevin Costner keeps making these tough guy cowboy movies.
It's like if Kevin Costner could act, he would be Harrison Ford.
If Kevin Costner didn't actually care about Kevin Costner, he could be Harrison Ford.
Sure,
but he
sure.
like way too cares about things.
Yeah, I mean, like they're the same coin just flipped, where one guy like really wants to be the tough like cowboy guy, and the other guy's like, I'm just gonna go live on a ranch.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? Harrison Ford smokes hella weed and just like does whatever.
I believe that.
He's like
Yeah.
an activated man. He's like an actor. He's like a cool guy. But
Sure.
Kevin Costner
But
is
also,
like a cosplayer.
he wasn't like a young kid getting into it. Man was like, no one's gonna hire me. I'm gonna go build shit.
Yeah. He crushed it.
Yeah.
He crushed life. He's like Buddhist almost. He just like crushed it.
They're talking about like what are the most difficult parts about shooting these films, and he's like the physical effects, like the stages. He's like stuff that where you don't do it in like computers or after.
We
he's like
flew a fucking
he's, like,
airplane into a tunnel.
So
bro.
often,
Yeah.
like things fuck up in ways that you don't expect, and sometimes that just makes it into the movie and it makes it more interesting. They were like, you produce and direct, what do you like better? And he's like, directing a ton, because like I get to make the movie. Like as an executive producer, you basically like hire, or like you should hire your director, but then like he was talking about like he wanted to give a suggestion to a director, but they just didn't take it, and he's like, it just made me like angry. And so he's like, I'm actually really stepping back from EPing only in the like over, like I'll help pick somebody and choose what we're gonna do, but I don't want to be involved in a movie that I'm not directing, because he wants to be able to make the choices.
At this point, he made the right choice, and now he's like the god of Hollywood.
Well, they talked about like when he got started, because he used to like crash he had like train sets and he would crash them together, and his dad would have to keep like sending them back in to be fixed, because that was the thing. And he's like, if you break them again, I'm not going to fix them. And he went and saw a movie when he was a kid, and it had a train crash in it, and he was so inspired, he got his like dad's camping camera and like filmed a sequence, and he's like, I had to wait 2 weeks for that stuff to come back, and he just like got into it and really did the like Super 8, like as a kid, actually like
Yep.
making
He's
shit.
like the archetype, yeah.
Yeah, he made like a UFO movie when he was 16. He was like, my dad couldn't afford the 16 millimeter film stock, but I won a 16 millimeter camera in like a film festival, so I traded that with somebody for a German device that applied sound to 8 millimeter stuff, and so then he ended up making a fucking UFO movie, and like just he like did it. He like legitimately did it from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And that's tight.
It blew my mind when the fucking first Columbo, directed by Steven Spielberg, age 24.
Also, that I guess there are TV movies, so they're inherently movies, but I was not expecting so much style in that show, like, and especially his stuff. Like they just do what when you're trying to make a day on a TV show you don't go for.
Yeah,
right?
He absolutely set the tone.
They asked him, would he be interested in directing Star Wars movies? And he's like, no.
Fuck no.
He was like,
that ship has sailed, bro.
There's
Yeah.
no one that's a bigger fan of those movies than me, but he's like, when you direct a Star Wars movie, you're making George's movie. Like we have like a sort of an understanding that I do Indiana Jones, he does Star Wars, and he's like, I would not, like, they're great movies, and that's not the way he wants to work. So Let's see what else. And then other just kind of cool stuff about his favorite part of the process is like editing. He's like, it's the most fun because it's like quiet. He's like, there's also, you make a lot more discoveries, which I get, where like on the day you don't have a chance to really necessarily always pay attention to everybody's decisions. And so it's kind of fun to be like, oh, whoa, there's like a whole other thing you didn't see. And so it's a very like methodical and meditative process.
I get that.
And he likes that. And then let's see, what else did he talk about? I was just kind of.
I respect Steven Spielberg, man. Did you see that movie? The
it's
What's
legit.
What's the movie called that is about his life? The Fablemans.
I have not seen that.
Yes, Fablemans.
Dude, if you ever thought that Steven Spielberg wasn't it, go watch The Fablemans.
I just want to stress for the record, for people who are curious about timelines here, for him being like, I don't want to do Star Wars, I want to do my own thing. The next 3 movies to come out after this film,
Yeah.
Spielberg's,
Yeah.
Hook,
Yeah.
Schindler's List, and Jurassic Park. Like, the
holy
man was
shit,
like, I'm
holy
fine.
shit, he was cooking.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. And when did Poltergeist come out? That had to be right around the same time, too. That was when he wanted to make so many movies that he started directing other people's movies.
Like, the man.
He also kept referencing the next 6. Like, he's like, I can't wait for him to do the next 6. Like, this is back, the 9 movie, like,
Yeah.
thing is like there. And he's like, who's closer to George and knows more of George's plans than him? So when he's like, I'm just excited to see the next 6.
What can I do? Like, how do I get that manuscript? Like
the original,
like we
6
have,
movies.
we have,
Or any of the original, because they did a lot of different drafts, but you're talking about like his early.
well, they
what
had
in the
this.
80s
They had
he
this.
thought it was going to be. I would love to know.
The very last thing that Dark Horse published as a comic that had the Star Wars license on it was called The Star Wars, and it was a comic version of the first draft of Star Wars, which is really, like, I'm sure it's not the actual first draft, but it's like,
That is like Star Killer.
yeah, it's like a completely different thing than what Star Wars is. Really interesting. But then even after that, like after he wrote the first movie and stuff, and he was plotting out these other trilogies, there's a story about a brother and a sister that meet. I think that Kylo and Rey were developed out of that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Who knows? Like, probably, or like,
I hope that
so many different
someday that
shreds of
comes out.
something.
I just hope someday we get to read through that outline, because I would really love to know. Like, that to me is the Ark of the Covenant right there. I
It's
would
really
love to
interesting
know.
having read the Lucas one and then this one. Like, they're not the most comprehensive interviews ever done, but it's really, you see like their overlap, which is like they love the making of movies.
Yeah.
That's their like favorite thing in the world, even more than the final product.
Yep.
And they even both love editing as the best step. For George, because it's like, that's when you put together a film.
That's when you make it a movie, yeah.
Well, and for Spielberg, he's like, at that point, I would think there would be no more discoveries, no more surprises, because I wrote the script and I shot the movie. But he's like, you find things you didn't even know there too, and it's like a whole thing. And he's like, there's no stress of making your day. It's like done. It's just you and like 2 other guys, or do whatever.
I can't stop thinking about that.
But Lucas loves like structures and loves worlds and he loves like macro.
Rhyme. Yeah.
And Spielberg's always talking about like, I need to like be in. I have
so
to like
present,
go on. His movies are like
moments.
Yeah. Whereas like Lucas, you could tell why being a
Myths
producer was
versus
great,
moments,
because
yeah.
like I get to do all the things that I want to do. I get to do a fantasy. I get to do all like, it just makes sense seeing
Lucas
you can see why they work so well together.
Lucas never could have made Jaws, and Spielberg probably could have made Star Wars, but like, I don't think it would have come out the same exactly.
Right.
It's interesting because his movies, like, they touch on really human things, but they feel more specific than like the broadness of a fable or like a I don't know. They like
they're real.
They
They're
sort of like
movies.
go in on human foibles in a more specific way to me.
I mean, it's like going back to Jurassic Park, like we were just saying. That movie, sure, it's about dinosaurs running amok, but it's also about the 2 doctors, Grant and I can't remember Ellie's
Ellie
name.
Sadler.
Yeah, the 2 of them literally having a conversation about children and raising children, what a family is, and then the rest of the movie is them. Like, he's forced to raise 2 kids during the film.
And it's working as an allegory.
like it's a lot about just like your excitement and going in on something, not thinking about it, and like the hubris involved and thinking that you can control things beyond your control.
Yeah.
And kind of like everybody has like that and has to learn.
It's a little bit on the other line of that structure. It's a very similar tone of movies, honestly.
Sure.
And Spielberg in general is just very close.
But it's
to Star
very
Wars.
character.
But he's
focused.
Yeah, the structure is like more. It resonates through a lot of different things, whereas Star Wars very much is a fucking myth.
Right.
Hook is to me kind of the closest thing to a Star Wars type thing, where it deals with like broader things like youthfulness and adulthood, which is, and also is like maybe more of like what Willow should have been, or something, like where it is like kind of
Star Wars the world
fantastical.
Yeah.
Star Wars the world lives on more than the worlds of Spielberg's movies. Like they're not really meant to be that. Like they're more settings for the story to take place than they are.
You're not going to be in the fandom of a Spielberg movie, but you will appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, except
you'll
Indiana
buy
Jones.
the home. Well,
Yeah.
but that's also that has the Lucas vibe, right?
Yeah.
I know
It's tailor-made to write a million stories about Indiana Jones.
they somehow keep making them, but Jurassic Park is a movie that is so good, and it also in its own text is like there should be no sequels.
Right,
Like,
absolutely.
And then they're like, let's do 7 movies, and you're like, there's no. Yeah, it doesn't really like
It
bake
doesn't-
that.
You don't buy it. Yeah, exactly. What do you got?
Well, gentlemen. Today I bring you what might be the most in-depth merchandising list from Lucasfilm. Period.
So we're in the modern day, basically.
We're almost the 90s.
Yeah.
I believe everyone at this table is born by now.
Yep.
And so we are all existing in this world. And this is when we start getting full merchandise, which is before it was where to find stuff and how to get it. And this is directly from the guys at Lucasfilm. You are getting stuff now.
What I'm trying to figure out is like there is new stuff now, and it's sick. What happened that made them like? Is this magazine popping off? Like what happened that generated?
Well, I think
so
there was
much
hype again.
I guess it's the 10-year anniversary, but what about Star Wars happened in this year that got people to?
Well, I mean, I think the focus was back on Lucasfilm because the first Insider was post Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't, the first Insider was after the big wave of everyone being excited about Star Wars.
I don't even think
It's after
I think
the
it's
two
after
Indiana
Return
Jones.
It's the 10th anniversary.
So literally we straight up just have,
Oh yeah, that was like the anniversary dinner was like the first episode.
Yeah,
Like
it came
the
out
hype
in
is-
86 or 87.
yeah,
so
like the hype has died down. So there isn't a lot of stuff. And they're like, yeah, if you want to find it, you can find it. And then Tucker did not land. Willow did not land. And Indiana Jones comes back and kills it. And so you can see the whole first page of merchandising is just Indiana Jones. And you can tell what's doing well based on prices. Indiana Jones stuff is always marked higher than all the other things. Star Wars even. An Indiana Jones patch is like $5-6. Star Wars is $4. And it's just about what was hot then. And you can see Indiana Jones beach towels, Indiana Jones t-shirts, Indiana Jones
like
print
true like
posters.
trash merch now.
Yeah, things that would be like, okay,
They have his dad's hat.
Yeah, like
God,
you
that's
can-
so not cool.
you can
I would
get
have
a
that.
$300 Indiana Jones leather jacket through these guys if you want.
Right.
But then you hit Star Wars, and the Star Wars merch is just like a coffee cup and a mask of Yoda, which, by the way, the most horrific Yoda mask I've ever seen.
This is
Genuinely jarring. Like, that shit
the
sucks.
eyebrows are the eye holes. The Ewok mask is worse.
That is a...
okay. The Vader and the Stormtrooper ones are pretty good though.
They
Ewok
look
sucks.
a little worse, I think, than they seem at first glance. Like
Maybe because it's black and white and
Yeah.
whatever. But I'm like, I don't know.
it's crazy.
This
It's-
is bad.
The stuff, like the thing that's crazy about it to me is that Star Wars is really the like franchise.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so now
The
you're-
merchandising.
the merchandise, and we're just talking about like how it's been growing, and now we're seeing this phase where there's no movies.
Right.
So now what do we do?
Well, and that's why a lot of it is the Star Wars role-playing game is for sale, and you can make your own Star Wars adventures.
Like D&D.
yeah, and so they're offering that. But then you also have to sit here.
I would kill for one of these folios. These like they have the Ralph McQuarrie like
Dude,
stuff for all of them.
go buy the
They're
Taschen
$10 each. The expense. There's one now. It's like $300 for it. It's just like
Yeah.
Me and you, we're gonna go to the Grove, and we're gonna buy that Star Wars Taschen book, and we're just all going to sit there, all three of us, and we're just going to look at it and go, wow, that was so great. Wow.
There's also, if you're into Willow, there's a whole Willow section, but it's all just, again, kind of trash. And there's a Tucker bit of like, you want to get a poster of the car from Tucker, you can do that. But I also I also forgot that they have, you can get Who Framed Roger Rabbit merch. You can get Land Before Time merch. Just things that are associated with it, I think is interesting.
That's cool. I like that stuff.
And you can also just get a THX shirt, which I
would buy that today.
Yeah, part of me wants really bad. And you can also join the fan club today. They have a bunch of stuff. You can get a Lucas fan club logo t-shirt. Basically, it's just 3 full pages of merch. It's just like when you get a catalog as a kid.
So it's a shift.
The role playing,
it's a shift,
big time.
They have all the role playing stuff here in the little like miniatures,
and it's 1990 almost. So we're about to start getting the games to.
Yes,
there was already a game or two that have come out in the arcades, but they're not merch.
Right.
There's no home console parody yet. Like we got the NES, so probably there's a Star Wars game on there.
There is. I believe
was that like shooting the like World War II Pacific one. Battle of Midway.
Oh yeah,
that was like so popular. Where's it? There was somebody that was like Spielberg like got obsessed with it.
Yes, the one that he really got obsessed with.
Indiana Jones. You can literally through this Indiana Jones Last Crusade computer game, but it's not it's not like Lucas Arts. Fate of Atlantis. This is straight up Atari and Amiga. Like this is gonna be jank games.
Look at that art. God, that takes me back to like
that's just some sick ass art. But we're about to get to that era. Like I'm serious. Like once Lando happens, it's like game time.
But then the last thing you had for me, which I'm and by the way, they also just include an order form, so you can literally just order through the magazine.
So it's really so now it's
order grid.
Now
My
it's
bad.
fully just a magazine. Now we're just selling a catalog.
It's just like when you get a Sears catalog as a kid, and you'd be like, "The toys I want for Christmas, I marked, Mom."
I circled them all. Yeah,
Your parents would be
There's
like,
so much more information than you as the end user would want to fill out, but I guess this is how they can.
Right.
This is so confusing.
Yeah, and then the most Jesse article that's ever been.
I'm so happy you gave this to me. Literally, they include it's so big of an article that it has to continue on a different. They stop, give a whole page to something else, and they're like, continue on page 12. It's that big of an article. Straight up, just I assume for those of you who saw Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade and were like, I want to know more about the Grail. What's the deal with the Grail legend?
Straight up Grail lore, yeah.
And it is pure, just paragraph after paragraph of not just like a thin Grail lore. We get into the origins of the Grail, where the Grail comes from, and like lore, like 11th and 12th century stuff, going all the way through of like why Grail lore spread and what about it is important to the history of Arthurian legend. And it's just so cool. And then they even get to the fact that a lot of people don't even think the Grail was a cup. That in one story, the Grail is a magic stone.
In one very famous story, the Grail is a woman.
Yes. As our friend Dan Brown wrote. Yeah. But I loved everything about this article, and I think seeing it in this and seeing them deep dive Percival and talking about like, in one version of the Grail quest, Percival finds a cup, and in one he sees a glowing chalice that has visions of like Christ and stuff, and in one it's not Percival, it's Gawain or Gawain, Gawain, whatever the hell,
Sir
Gawain. Yeah, so I think it's Gawain, but whatever you call him.
Yeah,
or Gawain, however you would say his name.
Gawain.
Isn't that what would become Gwyn? The name Gwyn?
It's like Gawain the Green Knight.
Yeah, I mean that's and it's.
Wait, the Green Knight is Gawain?
Yeah.
No, he goes after the Green Knight.
Yeah,
the Green Knight's
that's
the
true.
dude
The Green
who
Knight
can
is a
get his head
mythical.
cut off. Yeah.
The Green Knight is a mythical figure.
You're right.
Yeah, but that is Sir Gawain.
But and like there's one version, but in one the Grail is in fact a cornucopia, and whatever you want to eat, be it hot or cold, when you reach in, it'll be there.
Tea, Earl Grey.
So really,
hot.
Hook is also arguably a Grail quest.
Maybe because if you vision it, it's right there.
That's like the saddest Grail quest of all.
The best part though is at the end.
Isn't the Grail give you unending life?
Yeah.
Whoa, that works in several ways.
Yeah, apparently the actual like Fountain of Youth is in Florida, right?
That's in the Everglades, apparently. Yeah, according to
it's
legend.
actually flooding the whole thing.
It's a whole thing, yeah.
But the best part about it, of course, is the end when it talks about sort of the World War II aspects of what was going on and why Hitler would be looking for the Grail and the occult. Big fan of that. One of my favorite stories is the fact that literally during World War II, as a history teacher, this makes me so happy. During World War II, Hitler was so obsessed with the occult and wanted to go find like holy relics that FDR literally was like, oh my God, fine. And they made an organization to essentially stop him from doing it. I don't know if anyone believed it.
Wasn't it? Where
Isn't that Hellboy?
somebody was like,
Kind of,
They were
yeah.
literally like, it's not real, probably, but like,
Yeah,
if
we have to do it.
he's doing it, we have to do
Which
it.
is so cool. I would love a movie of that.
there's
Isn't
even
that-
1%
isn't that the
chance that it's
movie
real.
With George Clooney?
No, that's that's about stolen paintings, I believe.
Oh, that's the one, yeah, where they like go
Three
back and
Kings?
get all the art.
Yeah, I mean, but really what was actually
That's a different
happening
kind of stealing.
is even though they were going around like trying to find artifacts, really they were just literally stealing anything of value from everyone they could steal from, which is equally terrible. And,
Solid strat.
yeah, and
Was
so
it because like the people that were doing it were like, this is insane, but like that's worth something?
maybe, I mean, like, who knows? Honestly, it was about just taking as much power and like, it's
also,
crazy.
fascists are pretty evil
Not
and
good people.
stupid. Yeah, so
But the fact that there was
You're right.
at one point a bunch of American dudes who were just like, yeah, they're trying to find a magic spear, so we got to stop them from finding it, which is just like, they didn't know where it was. They were
Yeah.
just like, wherever they're going, we got to be
we
there.
gotta get the spear of Longinus.
Yeah.
That they use to stop the fucking Evangelion. What are they called? The angels from coming.
yeah.
The third impact is coming. Yeah.
And we all turned to red goop, and that was it.
Honestly,
Demonstrating-
I'm pretty into the goop at this point. I'd
Goop might be an improvement.
I'd goop. That seems tight. It seems tight.
Hey,
to goop out.
congratulations.
Except for what happens to Shinji, but forget about Shinji. I'm a good person.
He's a dick, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a good person.
He sucks.
Yeah.
He's a kid.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. Okay. Have you seen End of Evangelion?
Which of the movies is that?
That's the movie.
I watched all those when they came out, and then I've
Give it a rewatch.
forgotten.
You'll be like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
all right.
yeah.
Shinji, not a good guy.
He's not chill. All right, you droids.
You automata?
You automatons, well, we're a bunch of Gamorreans, so it's time for you guys to get out of
Yeah,
here.
get out of here.
We're classically known to not really tolerate your kind.
Yes.
Squeal on
We
out
have
of
a
here.
racial hatred of robots.
I hate you guys. You droids. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, SWOCBC, you're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Faciane. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening. SWOCBC Episode 18 Inside the Insider has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence. Issue 9, you are clear for takeoff. Original publication date of fall 1989. This is Control. Thanks for listening.
Bing Bong. I was gonna say Bing Bong Baywatch. That has nothing to do with Star Wars.
Unless you're a shore trooper,
That's right. That's right. Hey, you
you got to watch the bay.
That's right. It doesn't matter how big your boobs are inside of those gender dampening imperial
Although I
outfits.
would like a show which was Baywatch, but stormtroopers, and they were just in bikinis.
That's like
like the helmets, but just bikinis.
Yeah, but bikinis.
that's
Hasselhoff.
exactly the kind of, well, I don't know, like if they made art for people to like keep them in line, like making shows that romanticize their positions and having them watch it is like, it's like sexy shore troopers.
I always think of those battleship girls.
Yes,
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
That's like a whole thing. Like those little anime sexy battleship.
right, but they're
personified-
stormtroopers.
Yeah, exactly.
Except one is an Imperial class Star Destroyer.
Yes. One of them is just a Imperial class Star Destroyer with truck nuts.
Yeah. One girl, her boobs are just two TIE fighters. Two
yeah.
TIE fighter, like.
or the
TIE offenders.
TIE bomber.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's better, yeah.
TIE
Yeah.
offenders. We're here with Inside the Insider number 9. This is almost a show. This show is almost a real show. We have put out an episode now. The general public now know this show.
Almost.
We know, which is like kind of
Everybody
exciting.
around the world.
Like anybody who listens to the main show
People all over the world.
is at least aware that this show exists. So if you're new and you're here because you heard it on the public feed, welcome.
Welcome to the Love Train.
Thank you for being on the Love Train. We are in the midst of Last Crusade fever still with issue number 9 of the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine. We're almost halfway to the Insider. We're actually
I keep forgetting
it's
that.
actually going to become the Insider eventually. This is fall 1989, so this is after Last Crusade came out. It's a smash in the cinemas, and actually like where this magazine strikes us is like I would say another inflection point for like the machine of Lucasfilm. Like I don't believe that Lucasfilm as it was when it completed Return of the Jedi was like ready to make the sequel trilogy or the prequel trilogy. Excuse me, not the sequel trilogy, but the episode 1, episode 2, episode 3 trilogy. Like, I don't believe that could have been done with the facilities and stuff, at least in the manner that it was done, that they had in the early 80s. But one thing you'll find from today's stuff is that like this issue almost reads like it's going to be the last issue because it feels like there's like this feeling that since Star Wars is done and Indy is done, like what else is next for Lucas, and that kind of just comes across. It almost feels like they were like option selecting on ending this magazine right here, but I don't know. That's just maybe me projecting. But I will start with the letter section, the fan forum, as always, because there is no better way to get a sense of what people are thinking than reading these fake letters from people.
Yeah, I always want to think this is from a fan who just loves these movies, but it always comes across as like
a plant.
Employee. Yeah, like
there's some realness in there. I feel like some of them are real, and I feel like eventually when we get to like the actual Star Wars Insider, there'll be enough letters.
Sure. It's just that every so often you'll read one that's like, I, as a huge fan of the movie Tucker, I'm like, no.
Their portfolio
false.
for this quarter is looking very, very
no,
good.
Stop
So
it.
like after hearing the Zodiac episode or like series that you guys did about like the cop that wrote his own like letters and stuff, it's just like
Dave Tosky,
I like, and this is so corporate that I'm sure some are real, but I can't help escaping that maybe a little bit of that happens.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so speaking of that exact vibe, here's a letter from Jeff from Charleston, West Virginia. And it just starts in the middle of the letter. I think this was an extremely long letter that he sent, but it just starts with an ellipses. I thought I would write upon reading the news that Star Wars has been chosen by the Library of Congress as one of the first 25 films to be placed in the National Film Registry, along with High Noon, The Searchers, and The Wizard of Oz. It has been accepted as one of the films important to our culture and history. This is definitely a coup de grace to the notion that Star Wars was just kid stuff and junk food for the mind. I can probably speak for a great many fans in saying we knew Star Wars would be pretty influential and important when we first saw it back in 1977. Just look at the influences on film and production, movements toward bigger production, better cinematography, optical effects, editing, etc. Look at the advances in film technology, i.e. motion control, reflex cameras, computer-assisted optical printing, computer video-assisted editing like the Edit Droid. These developments by ILM and Sprocket Systems, which we'll talk about a little bit in a minute, they changed their name eventually, Sprockets.
Sure.
Made for the Star Wars film are now commonplace in film and television industries. How many computer operators and programmers started out playing video games as kids, like Space Invaders, a tip of the hat to the TIE Fighter attack and the final battle over the Death Star? You know, now kids work with computers in the earliest school years, some perhaps having been comfortably acquainted through video games. Notice how commonplace personal computers, VCRs, CDs, and fax machines have become in this decade, and how this runs parallel to Luke Skywalker working with moisture evaporators, macro binoculars, land speeders, and droids on his farm.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Looking beyond technology, notice how classic mythology and spiritual themes, good versus evil, belief in the Force from this film, from the me decade of the 70s, preceded the return to traditional values and ideals in the conservative
In the 80s?
The conservative 80s. Dude,
In the greed is good decade?
we were talking about that in the Return of the Jedi episode, like, the film tradition of the 80s is like looked down upon in general by like film buffs because it was so family, so romantic, so unedgy. And so it's interesting to see average fans being cultured in that way at this time, but they totally were, because there was nothing else to talk about. It never ceases to amaze me how Star Wars took themes from myth and religion, combined them with dreams of the future, a spirit of adventure, and became one of the popular influences on the generation, going from the 20th to the 21st century. With the release of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, a great installment of this in that series, I would have to write 2 more letters to say more, I sense the end of an era for the kind of movies Lucasfilm produces. These movies get bigger and bigger to make, so I feel certain very different, but not as taxing productions are forthcoming. This is an outside opinion, some might say way outside, we'll see. The adventurer has grown up, confronted his father, thus discovering himself and the truth. Themes played out in both film series. These quests humankind will always engage in, these stories we will always tell, and these grand tales Lucasfilm has dashingly told. As we approach the final decade of this century, we see a changing world. The remarkable changes in the Soviet Union, once the evil empire of the world, heightened concern for the environment, a general rejection of narcissistic values brought on by AIDS and drug awareness, and the economic and technological changes in this decade.
Wait, brought on by narcissism, brought on by AIDS?
A general rejection of narcissistic values, because, AIDS and drug awareness, we help people with problems. We're not just obsessed with ourselves, right?
Was it like the free love and that kind of stuff is what he's talking about, the narcissistic?
He's saying there were narcissistic values and that we're seeing a shift towards public interest and helping each other.
Oh, okay. I thought he was saying that having AIDS was a narcissistic value.
No.
And I was
the AIDS epidemic and drug awareness programs made us care for each other more. As much as I would like to see the other chapters of the Star Wars saga made, and I think they indeed need to be told in some form or another, I'm just as eager to see Lucasfilm move into the future, still reflecting who we are and inspiring us at the same time. Congratulations on honors received, and thanks for being important to all our histories.
Who is this person?
Jeff from Charleston, West Virginia.
I was hoping for last name.
His name is Jeff Real Guy.
I know his last name. I know his last name. I can tell you it. You want to know it? We can put it out there.
All I want to do is Google this Jeff and see if he actually worked or does currently work for Lucas.
I know, right?
Because it feels so self-congratulatory.
Right. But at the same time, I do remember writing actual fan mail. I remember I was a big listener of the Lost podcast back in the day, when podcasts, right at the beginning of podcasts.
They were on the island. I remember it was a bunch of dudes on in Hawaii, and they were we're seeing behind the scenes footage. I'd listen to them. They were always wrong, but it was great.
But also the showrunners had a podcast.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
And you could write in and be read, but in thinking about trying to get read, I would literally try to there's actually consideration to be made to the thing that you're writing in.
I never had any of that.
As opposed to now where we have chat and it's just somebody comes in your own chat and is here's a picture of a swastika. Fuck you, fat boy. That's my experience. Here's another letter from Linda. Linda from Astoria. Tonight is the 17th time I've seen Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Damn.
And if I had more nights in my week when I wasn't accountable to a husband, a boss, or someone else with some kind of nominal authority over
I gotta get that husband and be dude.
Yeah, what happened?
Dude, she's into Indy, not you.
Yeah, when I wasn't accountable to a husband, a boss, or someone else with some kind of nominal authority over how I spend my evenings and weekends, that number would be doubled or tripled at least. The only reason I'm not anxious to have Indy 3 on video is because I like to keep demonstrating my fondness for the film by buying tickets, even at $7 a pop here in New York.
Wow.
I wonder, though, am I the only filmgoer in America to notice that the first few frames of the adult Indy battling the forces of evil as personified by Panama Hat's henchmen on the freighter have the negative reversed? The scar is on the wrong side of Indy's chin. That extremely minor point notwithstanding, this has to be the best thing Spielberg has done. I'd love to see a sequel with that wonderful Ford-Connery chemistry making itself felt again, but cold reality says there's no way to top this. Thank you for creating the Lucasfilm fan club so aficionados have a vehicle for expressing their feelings.
I love she saw it enough to realize in the first few seconds after Indiana Jones is beat up, because remembering the movie, he has that scene where The guy who, like, after he falls in the snake thing on the train, the one guy's like, "Hey kid, keep the hat," and he like throws it to him, and then it hard cuts to him on the freighter on that boat with the, and he like pulls the hat up and does the reveal. It's Harrison
They probably
Ford.
just did it to match the shot better.
Yeah, and that's all they did. But
It's
I think
still
it's very
artifice,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, that she noticed that.
It is because like the whole thing about like mirrors and your face changing is so real that
Insane,
like
yeah.
I get that. Yeah, like you just when you see somebody's face in a mirror, it's so different.
Yeah. I got one more letter here from Michael.
Oh no, not mine.
I know, right? From Michael
Dear
Davis.
Indiana Jones,
I was 2.
I'm just a little baby.
I'm a little baby.
But someday I'm going to be very mad about the things that you quit. All right. Today has to have been the best day of my life twice.
Whoa.
I work with the Walt Disney World Company, and we are currently in the building stages of the Star Tours attraction at our Disney MGM.
I must stress, I hope he's like, and number 2, I got laid.
Dude, fuck George Lucas. I work with the Walt Disney World Co., and we are currently in the building stages of the Star Tours attraction at our Disney MGM Studios theme park in Orlando, Florida.
Disney MGM.
The tiniest Disneyland. But yeah, I guess we got it first in California like 5 years earlier.
Sure.
So, today we held a dedication ceremony for the opening of the Ewok Village portion of the attraction.
Oof.
And the master of ceremonies was none other than George Lucas himself. I was fortunate enough to meet Mr. Lucas, and he's a very nice person. I was extremely honored to meet him. Later that evening, Mr. Lucas attended one of our nighttime entertainment complexes located on the recently opened Pleasure Island.
Yo, by the way, shout out to, what is it, maybe a Defunct Land episode about Pleasure Island?
I know everything about Pleasure Island because of that.
That is fascinating.
Really, really interesting how they tried to make that. But Downtown Disney, they made it. All right. Yep. He just so happened to come into a nightclub I work at, XZFR's Roller Dome, a combination nightclub roller rink.
Yep, that sounds right. That sounds like Pleasure Island.
Just straight up, with a dance floor and live band. Mr. Lucas wandered through our club for about a half hour to 45 minutes and seemed to enjoy himself. I was actually shaking. I don't know. I was actually shaking with delight upon meeting him. It was unbelievable to be that close to someone who has touched so many people. He has meant a lot in my life, and that made our meeting even more special. Well, my day was great. I hope everyone in the Lucasfilm fan club can visit our Star Tours attraction in January 1990 when it opens, or go to Disneyland in California and ride it now.
Damn.
Michael from Orlando.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's the letters. And like I said, I feel like the people who
That felt like an honest letter.
Yeah, the people who watched Star Wars and Indiana Jones, I think at this point in time in 1989, were feeling like, well, on to the next great adventure. And I think that's genuinely what it was. And speaking of that, along those lines, I feel like George Lucas was feeling the same way because the piece that I did was about, I don't know if it was the actual Inside ILM piece, but it was actually a piece about sound in the movies. And how, I remember I mentioned Sprocket's sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's Dance, yeah.
So that's been around. Yeah, we are Sprockets.
Let's Dance.
No, they actually changed the name of Sprockets after a while. Sprockets was in one place in the early 80s, and they did a bunch of sound. They did like Willow and Indy and all these things. And
Tucker.
Yeah. I mean,
Had to
did
get
they
those
move it to
car sounds.
Skywalker Ranch?
so Sprockets was like the original sound thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Was it their original name for their own thing, or did they buy it?
I think it was like ILM, where it was like a thing, and then they kind of like adopted it, right? And then they eventually owned it. But there was a flood in the 80s, in the early 80s, and they had their facility in NorCal, but they moved it to the Lucas Valley, where George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch is. Mm-hmm. They thought they were going to build a 50,000 square foot compound to do audio editing in for Sprockets. Ended up being like 137,000 square feet.
Damn.
Has like 50 editing bays or something like that. There's a lot here that's funny because like I've been like as a games industry person and like a person who's been to a lot of events in my life nowadays.
Yeah.
You go to a lot of like headquarters of companies, been to EA, been to Ubisoft, been to a lot of places like that. And like, this is how they all look now. They're making a big deal about how like the editing bays aren't like caves. They have like big windows. They have like all these crazy tech. They have a screening room that has a 35 millimeter and a 70 millimeter projector, and you can just like watch stuff in real time. Has one of the quietest rooms ever made for Foley. And yeah, so basically like...
Funny thing is like dark editing rooms for me are wonderful. It's like not overstimulating. I get that if that's you all day,
You're kinda
might wanna
zoned
see
in.
it.
If you're in
But it's
NorCal,
it,
yeah.
for also so you can see the color, but like there are good reasons for that.
I'm sure they have like shades, but like it was just a luxurious compound for making art that George Lucas made up. And one thing I did not know about the Skywalker Ranch, because I never really looked into it, is that the aesthetics of it are like as important to George as like the situation. And obviously this eventually became Skywalker Sound. They're talking about how he bought like another office in Santa Monica that they're going to try and turn into Skywalker Sound, but it looks like in the end it became over there. They also are talking about Steven Spielberg's new movie Always is like being produced at Skywalker Sound, but that movie doesn't exist, which is kind of interesting. But the thing that I thought was really interesting, and I'll try and find the quote, because George Lucas is like Disney-esque in a way almost with his thinking about this stuff.
It does feel like when Walt was like blowing out the studios and going bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have that kind of money,
It's a similar.
what do
thing,
you
like-
do with it? Yeah, you might as well spend it on
I'm just
something.
going to read like a little paragraph from this because I thought this was like a window into how George Lucas thinks that I thought was really interesting. The overall look of his technical building, which is what the name of Skywalker Sound started off as, the Skywalker Ranch technical building, was always a primary concern of George Lucas, who has given his ranch and its buildings a fictional history. Sprocket Systems was built in the guise of an old winery, the winery of a wealthy sea captain and his family that lived in the white Victorian house on the other side of the lake. Much of the interior carries on the tale, with older sections of the tech building done in a European style of molded pale yellow walls, rock fireplaces, yellow pine staircases, and hardwood floors circa 1895.
Dude.
Red bricks line the walls leading to the wine cellar, which became the screening room. The Art Deco look of that room and other parts of the building was put in by the captain's son, who, after returning from film school in the 1930s, decides to turn the ranch into a film studio. The son obviously thought that the storage area for his family's fine wines would be the perfect place to screen his fine films. Pretty crazy, right?
I love this. It's like the Magic Castle or something. I love a high concept building.
Yeah, it honestly it makes me jealous that I'm not filthy rich.
Right.
Because I would do shit like this. I would actively create like, well, this was created by the sea captain's uncle. Like, I would have so much fun.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really know. They also make a point of it not being in LA, which is really neat.
Sure.
But yeah, Spielberg's upcoming movie Always is happening, is in the production at this time. They're planning to lease 30.
Heard of that movie?
I know. Well, I don't think it's a movie. He plans to lease over 35,000 square feet of the Lantana Center in Santa Monica. That was supposed to open in 1990. That was going to be another like Lucas thing that was going to be called Skywalker Sound. But it says that because this is from 1989, and it says that they're going to make it Skywalker Sound, but it also says that Sprockets became Skywalker Sound in 1987. So I don't know what's up with that.
Maybe you just had the name Sprockets still.
Yeah.
For legal reasons.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's basically they just made like an amazing, like revolutionary sort of like, I feel like it's the first modern production house in the way that like, you know, WB built a big one and all these other people built these huge things, probably to compete with George, because if you think about it, he's got all this land, so he's building that shit like out in the middle of nowhere by Clint Eastwood, where like what's his name did his stuff too, Chaplin and stuff. They all were like north, you know, they all did it kind of north, and so I feel like to keep production centered around Los Angeles, it put the impetus on people to like start using higher tech stuff to compete with ILM and Lucasfilm. And THX like took over and like all these things.
There's no room in this city anymore to do stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff like, for example, there's like Sunset Sound or like the sound stages at Universal Studios that are always going to be there and are always going to be something.
Yeah.
But you always have to go in and scrape those out and change them because they're sort of a simple design for how to make movies. Whereas LucasArts and Lucasfilm and all that stuff that's over at Skywalker Ranch is just Willy Wonka, man. Like at that time you get there, like, can you imagine it being 1989 and you walk into like basically like a 2020 like a 2020 modern production facility is like pretty crazy. Like you see the pictures, like the editing bays and stuff look like they got L cars on them. Like it literally looks like Star Trek. It's crazy. Not to invoke the name of Satan on the Star Wars podcast with Star Trek, but you know, what did you guys read?
I had two. The first one was collections. This one was called The Ultimate Collection, and it was talking about the Lucasfilm archives and like the guy that runs them, who is Don Bees. This guy who started out as just like a fan collecting Star Wars memorabilia, or maybe buys, B-I-E-S, however you want to pronounce that.
Bees, beads, Michael.
He started, as a fan collecting stuff in 1977. Then he got a job as a mechanical design for like movies. And then in 1987, he started working at Lucasfilm as the R2-D2 radio control operator for events. And then
pretty good job.
By 1989, he was the archivist for them. So he like runs the archives. He like is in charge of like what do you call it? I guess archiving.
He's like the original like Pablo Hidalgo, basically.
It's like he but it's not lore. It's like the props.
Oh, it's like
and
the
things.
actual.
He's an archivist for all the costumes, matte paintings, models, and props. He like catalogs them. He's in charge of their upkeep, and then he coordinates, because at this point they do a lot of events, like
Probably
R2,
like museum stuff.
R2-D2, the radio control guy. That he goes he's at a Boy Scout meeting. Like he goes to a lot of. You can like reach out, and if you have, I guess, a big enough sized event or convention, you can like
R2 rolls up,
get some of that. Yeah. So they were just talking about like what happens to all the costumes, all the different like variations of them, and like sort of some of the difficulties of like keeping like stuff that's made out of like foam, latex, or alcohol like starts breaking down immediately once it like touches air. And so they were like all that was left, I think, of Jabba was like an arm and like some other thing, because his whole body just like
ate itself.
Yeah. And they were talking about
on
like,
brand, honestly.
at the time of this, Lucasfilm was looking into technology to help better preserve latex, which is cool. I don't know that we've really got that, because don't those props still deteriorate pretty?
I feel like if George Lucas wanted to preserve something today, I'm sure that he could.
If you throw enough money at something, you can preserve anything. But I think even like knowing cosplayers, and usually they're a one and done situation. They'll wear that outfit,
the latex.
And then by the time they take it off, it is pretty much destroyed.
But like, dude, like for example, Quentin Tarantino, with all his money from like Pulp Fiction and stuff, he literally bought the entire inventory of his video store that he worked at in the South Bay and just moved it to a room that's like controlled, and now it's fine. All that delicate tape. I don't know how that deteriorates with, on par with something like latex. I know they both are kind of made of the same kind of stuff.
Sure.
So I don't know. I really don't know. But I did. If you want to do something funny, look up the suits from the Ninja Turtles movie and see how they're doing.
Those are
terrifying.
They don't talk about it here, like, but it seems like maybe preserving like this kind of memorabilia and like stuff wasn't as common. Like,
well,
people didn't care about it as much. Yeah. Like, and so, but here everything is like a treasure. Like every single costume, every like prop. They talk about like some of the stuff that's missing because people like broke in and stole original
lightsabers.
What do you call it? Macquarie pictures, some other stuff. They were talking about like in transit, they were transporting stuff to like a convention or whatever, and things went missing. Like the original set of fake Grails was stolen in transit. They have no idea.
Wow.
And they even talk about like people at conventions will be like selling official merchandise. And so the Don guy was like, be highly skeptical. And if you see people, like, please tell me.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of that could be stolen.
Right.
Some of the funny stuff they talked about that like people have, because he's like, they have a lot of their stuff, in this archive. A lot of it is also decorations, or they have like Luke's lightsaber, Indy's whip and hat, and then Willow's like wand and stuff is like on display when you go into the Lucasfilm thing. Lucas has like 4 Tucker model cars in his personal office.
The real ones?
Yes, he has like, I think some models and then the actual one, and then he has an actual full-size speeder bike with a scout trooper like mannequin on it in his office.
That is so insane.
They also do like how in the first Iron Man, like Pepper gives Tony like a thing. It sounds like they routinely like give him or other important people like, we've like built a cool display collection of these props. And then they gift it, which is kind of cool. What else is going on in there? Oh, there's a full-size mannequin of Obi-Wan that no one knows why it was ever made. He's like, there's just a full-size Obi-Wan mannequin that we have that nobody can tell me why it was created in the first place.
Interesting. I wonder if it has to do with the Darth Vader fight where he they do that one,
maybe?
You know, that one swing where he like
disappears.
Yeah. I wonder if it's something with that.
Maybe.
I can't imagine. Maybe it's like a body double for the effect of him being, like a ghost. I don't know.
Or it's like Alec Guinness was like, I'm not going to do reverse shots. I'm like a famous actor, so they didn't want to just like rat him out for being that kind of guy.
I was on a bridge on River Kwai. No.
Also, a lot of the stuff is insured. Like R2D2, the radio-controlled R2D2 thing is insured for $100,000. And also, the executor is also insured for $100,000, which is interesting because you're like, wow, a droid and that
big
ship
model
are worth the same. But Don remarks that it's actually priceless because there's just one, whereas there's like 10 R2D2s.
That's true. I've seen a C-3PO and R2D2 recently, and I still got excited, even though it's probably not like the most significant ones.
Sure. There was I think it was a Comic-Con 2 years ago where they had like a parade. It was like R5, R2, like a bunch of different droids, and I was like, that's very cute.
The real ones?
I don't know if it was the real ones, but it was definitely like
official.
Someone made them.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that stuff.
Yeah, so that was a collection one. It's interesting. It kind of read like they did on like Disney, like a series of little like mini docs about like people that work at Disney and like what they love about it and stuff. And the letter that you read about the guy that worked at the roller derby, and like even this kind of, it's full of information, but it's also kind of like, here's this guy and here's his story. And it sounds like an actual like absolute dream job
to be the Star Wars archivist.
The guy that like started as like a fan collecting stuff, and then the official archivist that
That's
runs
exactly
it.
how like those Disneyland jobs start to get created too, like longtime skippers that like suddenly like now there's a job where you need to like keep track of all the skippers that have ever lived, so you're going to be the guy or whatever. Yeah,
it's super cool. And then the other one I had was Inside ILM, and they were talking about, this particular one was about the pseudopod creature from the abyss, all about the effect.
Interesting.
And they were talking about like when like the history of it was kind of like James Cameron was like looking, before they were shooting for the right effects company to help him bring this to life. And so he kind of like shopped it around, and everybody like sort of like pitched what they were doing. And they were talking about like in the beginning, they were thinking about like, do we want to do stop motion or replacement animation? But then they were like, okay, they didn't say exactly what they did, but they basically like had a day between when they found out about it and when Cameron was coming to check it out. And so one of the creators there was like, I guess Phil Tippett. He had like an idea. It wasn't the idea that they went with, but it was so outside the box and interesting that it showed them like how like they could like quickly they could turn on an idea and how forward thinking they were. And it's crazy because in the end they ended up using computer animation
for the first time.
But it was it wasn't the first time, but it was not a good system at this point because it took actually kind of like how they talked about to get the shots for the first Star Wars movie, you had to like shoot it, and then it would be like a while before they could develop that so you could even see if it worked. It's the same shit where you had to make a crude like visualization of it, and it would take days to render anything that would be useful for review. And luckily at this point, computing had advanced to the point where they could get you something in hours instead of days, but it was still really tough. And they were talking about like The Last Starfighter was like an example of a movie that used it, but the problem there was that early computer animation didn't know how to mimic motion blur, so things looked wrong because they're like, when you capture 24 frames in a second, things that move in that frame create a like motion blur. And apparently ILM was like the first people to crack their software that added that, like that mimicked motion blur.
That's
correctly.
got to be why Jurassic Park just looks, because that's like what, 2 years later. Jurassic Park,
isn't that like 93?
Yeah, or 94,
So
something like that.
four years later, but-
that's when it came out, right?
Yeah, but it's crazy to see like the beginning of, and they were talking about like stop motion is always a little. They're like stop motion and replacement animation, which I guess is replacement animation is where you create a unique model instead of like moving the arms. You create whole cloth a new model for
every
each frame,
yeah.
which is insane. But like, you know, those aren't like smooth, and he wanted something smooth. And if you've seen it, it's like a water creature. It's like, you know, so they had to like think outside the box, and they ended up just going with computer animation. But even that back then was crazy, the way that they had to like do it. They had to like capture shots on shots on shots of the actual place, had to recreate all these environments. And then because it's a water creature with no...
It has like reflection mapping that you have to figure out.
Yes. Yeah. Like they were talking about like you have to get both the reflection and refraction perfectly. Otherwise it looks foggy or it looks like plastic. In moving shots, they realized quickly like the lighting changes because look at a room. You don't have even lighting throughout. And they had to go back and forth. They had to like fax or like send a bunch of, it's like crazy the way they had to communicate between like LA with James Cameron and then like back in the studio. Specular highlights, which I guess is a term I've heard before, but it's the light dots that are like created from refracted light. And you're like, if you get those wrong, it doesn't like work. And so they
figure out how to do this in real time convincingly, by the way, to like a little while ago. Like when ray tracing was the thing that everybody was talking about, that was the first time that we were ever able to do that in a way that was real in real time.
Yeah. I think
that's how hard that is.
But like if you look at some of these shots,
yeah,
they hold the fuck up in a wild way, because this is back when they had to consider everything. They had to like, it's interesting because they did digitally what they also did physically with Star Wars. They had to create the software. They had to like, they're like, a lot of this was us creating the tech to even be able to achieve this. And they were just talking about like, it was fucking hard.
And yet somehow in 2024, they're still hiring Phil Tippett to come do the black goo rat from
Romulus?
From Romulus is like a complete stop motion rat that is in Alien Romulus. Just straight up, which is like, just goes to show you that, you know, the fact that it's Phil Tippett still, and the fact that we're still using the old stuff and the new stuff, is that art is very interesting in that it's always interesting to push the edges, but that you're always going to need all of it.
Yeah. In this scene, that the like climactic piece that they're talking about of this, the like pseudopod is this water creature, which they said like originally was written as like a water snake. So they had to visualize it, and how they visualize it, I think, informed everybody's idea of what a liquid creature should be like forever.
Yeah. Zelda straight up uses this.
Yeah. It has to like come out, look around a room. It like goes and then it makes a face and mimics
Robert
the faces
Patrick
of the
Michael Biehn
actors,
or
Ed
whoever
Harris
it
and
is.
stuff. And so even for that, they talked about like what now we know is a 3D like scan of somebody, but you know, back then they're like, it's a laser that swivels around a person and creates a like rough
data,
whatever.
yeah.
And they were like, very few companies had these. They had to borrow, like Disney was like cool with them coming and doing it. And they were like, we got Ed Harris and we got them and we made a bunch of like, they had to like make a bunch of poses and we had to scan this so that it could recreate their faces.
Damn.
And it's like stuff that we can do so much easier now.
You can do it with the phone.
And it's crazy because they had to just problem solve. It's like, it's so impressive, and I know a lot of people don't give that much of a shit about the behind the scenes, but it's like the amount of hours spent on a thing that you don't even, like, it goes by in a second that you don't even realize is like crazy. And
movies used to have actual value now. Like now movies are produced with the like mentality of like a YouTube video, so it's like very
but it's
sad.
It's noticeable, like watching movies where you're like, okay, this technically is like a higher resolution effect, but it's not.
It doesn't look as good.
I don't buy it. Like, I know I'm watching a movie, so I know that it's really happening, but I believe it more the way that it was done then, because everything is so whatever, instead of just like, we'll add it in post.
Absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
ILM just never stopped being as amazing as they were the first day they were created. It's pretty nuts, ILM. What about you?
Well, gentlemen, we once again return to the well that is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yeah.
They have been milking this for many issues.
Yeah, like three quarters or something like that.
Yes, it's been wild.
I guess, like, if they had this, though, while Star Wars was coming out, that would be, like, the thing, too.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Except this time it is another interview, not with Harrison Ford, but with Sean Connery, which they did one kind of already, but they're back. And this interview is asking the question, who is Sean Connery? Which already I'm like, oh boy, here we go. It is wildly written. The first paragraph...
Is it like a profile?
Kind of, but in a crazy way, because the first paragraph is straight up devoted to telling you about, like, how Hollywood has all types of people, and some are assholes, but not Sean Connery. Like, it's a weird start.
You sure about that?
It's a weird start. Then it goes on to talk about his, like...
punching my wife in the face if I have to.
Sometimes you just have to punch someone. Then it goes on to tell about his early life and how he used to deliver milk, and he worked crazy long hours to help his family, and he joined the Navy. And it goes to great lengths to talk about, like, life was tough for Sean Connery. But also, he was a male model and was very famous for being super attractive. And so it's like, what a hard life he led.
Oh, man, yeah.
Like, poor Sean Connery.
When was he even born? Like 1945?
He was born in the 40s, yes.
Yeah, so, like, he had, like, 15 hard years, and then he got James Bond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We learned that as Bond...
Actually, 1930 he was born. Holy shit.
Damn.
Yeah, I was like, if he was born in the 40s.
Dude, he was 90 when he died.
Yeah.
Holy crow.
Dude. We learned that he, while loving Bond, he hated that he was typecast. After Bond, he was consistently typecast as, like, a Bondy character, and he hated it. And he spent the next 10 years of his life, according to him in this interview, trying to not be that anymore. And it wasn't until he won for his role in Untouchables that people took him seriously as an actor. And so that was a big moment for him. And he was very thrilled that he could, like, work his way out of it. But he hated the fact that because he was Bond for so long, Hollywood was like, oh, that's Bond. And I thought that was interesting because it's very Hollywood.
They're just very simple in the way they think about things.
Yes. It's oh, you can do that? Great. We'll hire you to do that. Then he goes on to talk about the development of Indiana Jones. And the entire thing is straight up reusing quotes from, I would say, 2 Inside the Insiders ago, when I went over them talking about Indiana Jones and them interviewing Sean Connery and Harrison Ford, literally just reusing quotes. Just the same thing.
Exact ones from, like,
yes, and you're like, okay,
like a couple months
right.
ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they go on to say what I didn't know, and I think this is very interesting because I think it says a lot about George and Steven. According to Connery, George Lucas said that he wasn't his first choice for the role. And Spielberg had to convince him to hire Connery. And Lucas apparently wanted someone like a Yoda figure.
Ew.
Which is absolutely crazy to me.
Like a creature?
No, like he wanted
like Burgess
Indy's
Meredith?
dad to be like, Indy.
Like Mr. What's this guy's name?
I know who you're talking about, yeah. Like,
this guy.
Like, they wanted him to be a character who was wise and thoughtful, but not like, he doesn't do action.
Right.
And Spielberg was like, dude, it's Indiana Jones's dad. He had to have learned it from somewhere.
Yeah, why would he be like a fucking face-punching, Nazi fighting dude without that? Yeah.
And George was like, well, I think it should be the opposite of Indy. So that's where the contrast between the two comes. And he's like, no. The contrast comes because one is an old man who had a different lived experience, and the other is Indiana Jones stuck in the middle of World War II. Like, that's the difference. And he's like, okay. So he gave in, and I'm happy he did because I love the two of them together. Yeah. We also then, of course, hear more. There's a few paragraphs about how Connery and Ford love each other, which is, again, they've already talked about that numerous times. They really want to make sure everyone's aware the two of them got along very, very well.
They had a great summer in the late 80s.
Yes, yeah. And then all I wrote down was the rest is really just a rehash of previous interviews. But Connery gets points from me for expressing that he hates when celebs freak out in public when fans bug them. He's like, I'm a public figure. If I'm in public, I have to expect an interaction with the public. That's my job. I respect the shit out of that. Like, yeah, dude,
There's definitely like a way to be rude to a celebrity in person, but the notion that they should not even have to deal with that element of their life is a little crazy.
Yeah, I respect that about, like, the way to resolve that, I think, is Harrison Ford, where he's like, I moved to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you see me out there, cool, I'll say hi, but I'm not in LA walking around at a bar being like, don't talk to me.
He's hanging out with David Lynch. They're building fucking cupboards together and talking about how cool they are, probably doing hella weed. That's the true Harrison Ford life. It's the only Harrison Ford that I've ever heard of.
But I think that translates to Connery. Like, as Connery got older, he dipped on Hollywood.
Dude, well, you know when he died and he was like, he had dementia for a couple years and stuff. You know where he was?
Like,
he was in Nassau.
Yeah.
He was in fucking the Bahamas.
Oh, just chilling?
Yeah, like he was in like...
The place where you see Bond shirtless all the time.
He lived on like something key in the Bahamas when he died at age 90.
After that movie with, what was her name? That married Douglas.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, after that movie where like they...
Entrapment.
Danced.
There it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, after that, the man was like...
I'm out.
I'm going to say you're the man now, dog, and I'm going to piece the fuck out.
Me to play Alan Quatermain? That sounds great. Oh, never going to Hollywood again. This is what a monkey's paw that was.
I want to watch that again. I love that movie.
LXG?
Yeah.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
There's a lot of movies that I love that aren't good. I'll put it that way.
I'm not saying I thought that movie was like great. It just tickled my imagination.
The Van Helsing Underworld era.
The like
cool
action with like an interesting...
I think that's legit his last movie, though.
Yeah. Oh, like that's the last three movies he made.
And that weird, like,
I think
one where he was a dog or whatever.
Like Entrapment, the one where he's like, you're the man now, dog. And
League of Extraordinary Forrester.
Yeah. And League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That was like it. And then he was like, bye.
I'm going to the end of his filmography.
I think the and again, this is a apocryphal tale, but like what I heard is that all the ones he did at the end were just so he'd have like money for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he did The Rock, then he did The Avengers.
Yeah.
With Ralph Fiennes and Uma Thurman, which was actually kind of neat. Then he did a movie called Playing by Heart, which I don't know what that movie is, but it is with like Ellen Burstyn and Gillian Anderson.
Interesting.
Don't know about that one. Then he did Entrapment in 2000.
Yep. Then
he did Entrapment in 99, Finding Forrester in 2000, League in 2003.
Yep.
Which is actually earlier than I thought. And then he executive produced this movie Sir Billy, where he's the main character with like Alan Cummings and shit, but it like looks like this.
Interesting.
Remember this?
It's an animated film?
Yeah, dude, it's like the type of shit
it
that
looks like an early educational video game. Like,
yeah.
It's the type of shit that like JonTron would do a video about like back in the day. Like it's like some...
And that's it? That's all? That was it for him?
And then,
And then he just pieced out?
Yeah.
I respect it. That man was like, I'm going to make some bucks.
He'd been tried for 8 years when he died.
Damn.
Pretty good.
Look, solid run. But also, to say he'd been tied for 8 years and he died at 90 means the man worked till he's 82.
And he did a 4-year run.
Wild.
And he did a 4-year run.
And that means he was in his 70s doing The Rock?
He was old in this. Yeah, in The Rock.
I respect it.
The Rock came out in 1996 and he was born in 1930.
So he was 66 years old during The Rock.
In The Rock.
Yo.
In League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Crazy.
In League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that means that he was 73.
I will say, aging as a concept is super twisted for me because even, this is a few years back, but when, this isn't Star Wars, but Star Trek, when the man himself, James T. Kirk, went to space.
Dude.
And they were like, he's going with Bezos to space.
I thought he was like 60 years old.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool, it's fun. 90 years old.
Yeah.
William Shatner.
William Shatner at the time was 90. I don't know how it is now. I was like, there's no way. He doesn't look even remotely close to 90.
Shatner is 93 years old.
How crazy is that?
Yeah. That's Hollywood for you.
He's not even like healthy.
Yeah,
usually.
and he
like
just looks
This is a picture
so
of him
much younger
right now, and he looks like he's 70.
Yeah.
Like dead ass. Like I know that's crazy to say. Wow, he looks good. He looks 70.
Whoa, he
but
looks
that's
a lot like a combo of like Jimmy Carter and Man Who Sold the World.
David Bowie,
No.
Richard, Ronald Reagan.
Yes, Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. It was one or two guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My brain is bad.
It's crazy turning 70 as William Shatner, and then you're like, I'm gonna live 25 more years.
You know what's crazy? It's been 23. And
Right.
if he dies in
Right.
2 years, I'm coming for you, Alex.
That's fine. You know what? I don't. It's not my fault if Sean Connery, if William Shatner dies at age 94.
Sure.
That's not. I'm gonna call that natural causes.
Let's see until if he dies because you hit him in a car.
If he
then
got
it
hit
is
by
your fault.
if he got hit by a fucking car at age 94,
irony.
I
Yeah.
would still say that's natural causes. You're telling me in 95 years you never got hit by a car?
No,
It's gonna happen
The
at least
odds.
once. It's
The
gonna
odds
happen
are
at
gonna-
least once.
So what you're saying is when I was 16 and got slightly bumped by a car.
That was your Shatner
That was
moment.
it.
Yeah.
I got no more coming for me.
That was
Yes.
that's quantum immortality right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Viger, actually not Voyager, actually just William Shatner.
V'ger
Yeah.
is William Shatner.
That was actually just Shatner out there. He thought he was Voyager because he watched
right.
Star Trek 1 back in the day. But he forgot. All right. Is that it? Do you have anything
There
else?
was a comic that
yes.
was included.
The little comic, yeah.
And it is very silly, but is hyper specific to understanding not only Indiana Jones, but Henry Jones Sr.'s character. It's essentially,
is it canon?
I mean, yes, technically.
I'd like it to be.
So it is an
prefer it
image of Henry Jones Sr. It's the outline of Sean Connery's character returning to his office as seen in the movie. And he says, "Woo, after an adventure like that, it's good to be home again." And then in his office are a bunch of rats. And they're saying, "Remember now, as soon as he turns on the light, we all jump out and yell, 'Surprise!'" The joke being that his son is scared of snakes. And as we learn in Indiana Jones 3, the dad
afraid
is
of
scared
rats.
of rats. That's the whole joke. That's it. It's cute, but like, I don't know if it's haha funny, but it's cute.
That joke has
Snakes like
no
famously
tickets.
eat rats. Is there a
mongoose?
something there, or am I just like overthinking?
Like, because it's like his daddy issue as a fear?
Yeah, or
I don't think you're off base. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he was afraid of it before they even wrote his backstory, right?
I don't know.
He's been scared since Raiders.
We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
know if Henry Jones Sr. has existed since Raiders or not, to be honest.
It was like a goof in that in Raiders it was this macho explorer guy who's scared of snakes.
Yeah.
And then in Indiana Jones 3, they're like, the reason why is because he fell into a pit of them when he was a kid. And now he's scared of them.
Fair play.
Why didn't he just become Snake Man like a real?
Why don't you just man up and become
Father,
Snake Man?
I shall become a snake. And I will find the fertility goddess idols of the world and rescue them.
Cobra.
That's how Hydra got started. Well, with that, another seasonal installment of the Star Wars or Lucasfilm fan club Inside the Insider era. This is like funny because I'm thinking about this show like as like a 5 to 6 year show and think about how like during that time, like of course we're going to have this memorable era early on in the show's life where we were like in the Star Wars Insider and we hadn't reached Timothy Zahn yet when everything explodes. It's crazy how tangible this era is. Like if this show was 10 years long, it would be nothing, but it's such a this part I feel like is the part that we had no idea existed. This whole era
is
of
so
Star Wars.
fascinating and relevant to us because like
It's before our lives.
But this is like, you know, Hollywood's had multiple like cycles. This is like the beginning, or I think it is, of like the modern
What I
special
recognize,
effect
yeah.
blockbuster that would, and then especially given how wild a state Hollywood is in now and how close we are to it, it's like really interesting to see the difference in how things were done and the just amount of like care and effort put into stuff is fascinating. And I don't know, like gives me more of an appreciation. Like I want to go back and watch some of these shows or these movies from a like not narrative perspective.
Dying to watch
but
Willow.
like I want to see Willow from a like production standpoint.
Dying to watch Tucker. Dying to watch Willow.
I must stress for everyone at home, if you want to just be real upset for a minute, this issue we just read is 6 years after the release of Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
It will be 10 years before Episode 1 comes out.
Yep.
The time between the old series,
Yeah.
the prequels,
Yeah.
is but a fraction of the time it is from now
Yeah.
to Episode 3.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in.
Episode 3
how
came
far,
out-
how long it's been.
Episode 3 came out in like what, 2006, 2005, something like that. So like we're talking now 19 years difference between now and then.
It's longer between us and the Star Wars movies than it
been,
was for a fan at that time.
like right now it's 1983. We're almost to the point where Rise of Skywalker is as old. We're like 1 year away from Rise of Skywalker being as old as Return of the Jedi is here. That's crazy. But with that mind-blowing thought,
That's like, just to give a shout out to my other thing, the Warp Zone. We did a video a while ago that went pretty big about like the difference between the 80s and when GTA Vice City was made was like 13 years versus now it's like 20 something. And it's like
now we're making like a cowboy
crazy.
game,
And
basically.
I don't like playing time game because I lose it every time.
Dude, the time game is fucked, man. Everything dies.
oh,
That
wait,
sucks.
hold on. Is it... I don't want to try to guess the joke, but is it a joke about retro games and it actually just really being a retro game?
It wasn't actually the joke. It was just, hey, did you know, like about feeling old? And it's like the difference between like Vice City, which was a throwback to the 80s, was 13 years.
Yeah.
And it's been like 20 something years since
then.
the throwback to then. So do you feel old now?
Dude,
Gotcha.
Mario 64 is closer to the moon landing than it is to now.
You know what? Let's wrap it up.
Get
We're done.
wrecked.
We're done.
See you guys later for another Inside the Insider. Big 10th anniversary of the Star Wars Insider, Inside the Insider. Get hyped. Thank you for listening. Thank you for our Patreon, patreon.com/SWOCBC. See you guys next time. Bye.
All right, SWOCBC, you're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Faciane. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening.